Okay. Everybody ready to roll?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Previously on the Cursed by Strahd.
After a long rest, we collected ourselves and decided to head north, or at least the direction we thought was north. After walking for a while, we came to a colossal wall with an open iron gate. As we approached the gate, Forgotten noticed an odd number of ravens that were intensely focused on us. When everyone but Forgotten walked through the gates, they closed. However, they were still open for Forgotten. Curious about this phenomenon, Forgotten began to inspect the gate closely. Gallus, being the impatient dragonborn that he is, eventually had enough of Forgotten's dilly-dallying and dragged him through the gate. This action sparked an argument between Forgotten and Gallus, but it was quickly interrupted by a colorful carriage coming our way. It was then we met Barana, a haggard old-looking man with a colorful patchwork of clothing. Through conversation with him, we discovered that he's Visani, and he can come and go as he pleases. When Barana noticed Pip traveling with us, he asked what he was doing with such an interesting group. Barana mentioned it is rare for a Visani child to be away from their parents. This revelation shook the group to its core and sparked an argument between everyone. The majority of the group wanted to send Pip along with Barana and his family in hopes Pip would be able to get back to Phandalin. Forgotten and Dax, however, agreeing on something for once, thought that Pip should not be sent away with strangers. With Forgotten and Dax getting the final word, the group conceded. After getting some clothing from Barana, we said our goodbyes. The next day we were woken by bells, and after a short walk we made it to the town of Barovia. Upon entering the town, Gallus broke off from the group and had a run-in with a rude crying lady named Mad Mary. She was in desperate need of help finding her daughter Gertruda. Gallus said that he would help only if she shut up. Meanwhile, the rest of the group had a conversation with 3 Visani men who owned the Blood of the Vine Tavern. The Visani men told us some history regarding Barovia, the Visani, and Strahd. These men were also quite interested in Pip, because like Barana, they believe that he is Visani. They let us know that Visani are allowed to come and go as they please, however all other souls cannot. Once you are in Barovia, you stay in Barovia. They also mentioned that if we were truly seeking help and getting out, one of our only options would be to seek the help of Madame Eva, a fortune teller who resides near Tresner Pool. Halfway through our conversation, Gallus came into the tavern and struck up a conversation with a man named Ismark. Ismark's sister was in danger, and he was desperate for help. Promising Ismark that we would help him, Gallus rejoined the group. Our evening ended with a bombshell being dropped on us. According to the Visani tavern owners, Forgotten looks Barovian. Shook by this information, Forgotten left the table and headed up to the rooms for the evening. We left off with the group being completely flabbergasted.
Yay!
That's where we
Yes.
left off. We pick up, the scene fades in on the cool town of Barovia, which I'll drop you onto now. As the mists still skirt the town. They do enter, but not as much as the woods that you've passed through. And the camera pans down through the roof of this tavern as we all sit at this table. What would you like to do? Where would you like to start?
What time is it?
Yeah.
You've been traveling for a while. It's hard to tell in this place. I think you're definitely coming on evening, if not later.
Sorry. Did we fight? No, we didn't fight.
No.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if we didn't sleep.
Well,
If depending on what time it is, I would like to see that procession. But what did we say? That the guy with the tired eyes? That sounded like it had a time limit on it. So
Ismark?
We're still in the bar.
yeah.
Who is in the bar with us? Is everybody still?
You're static as you were when we left off, so we can fast forward if you'd like, if it's more convenient. We can fast forward a little bit, but as of the present moment, that you're the 3 Vistani and Ismark and the barkeep.
are we all staying at the Blood Tavern? Is everybody staying here? It seems like Forgotten's already gone upstairs to her room. Are you guys feeling like this place is okay?
Good enough.
Comrades,
How-
I've.
How likely?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted. My bad.
That's okay. How likely is it I can get away without paying the man 2 silver pieces?
Say again?
How likely is it that I can get away without paying the barkeep 2 silver pieces? They said I could just.
You wouldn't notice.
You don't have to pay. He wouldn't notice.
Are you asking me? I don't know. I'm just the DM.
Know everything, you're God.
No.
Would I have to sneak past, or
Well, Forgotten just went upstairs.
this is true?
Would you be more conspicuous by your tippy-toeing across the common room, or by just casually walking up? As you look, you can see the barman standing, just still polishing the same. And you've been here for a while now. You've had a few conversations. You've had a few drinks. You've been here for an hour, if not more. And he's just got the same wooden mug that he's just polishing. And this isn't you've seen this before. This is the fantasy barman from everywhere that just stands and polish glasses, but they generally change glass. He's just standing with the same wooden tankard, polishing it, and then he'll set it down, and then pick it up again and begin polishing it. Every now and again he'll stop and wipe the bar that doesn't have a speck of dirt on it. You can see like a part of the bar is almost worn down slightly through this motion. He just stands and goes through the motions.
Feels like a broken Westworld.
Yeah, I think I'd probably feel quite confident at that, so I'm happy to stay. The other thing I was going to ask is whether, Alice, did you tell us about your conversation yet?
Not yet. Well, comrades, I've had a conversation with my friend Ismark over here, and it seems that he'd like our protection for his sister.
Ismark hears his name being spoken, and from looking into his tankard, he like looks up, sort of like, not hopefully, just he looks up, glances at the party, and then
I look
glances
over
back
at
at
him
his drink.
and give him a wink and like a finger guns.
Finger guns, yes.
He looks confused for a moment and like raises one weary finger and like slightly finger guns you back.
I say a little bit louder than I probably should. How much is he paying us?
Money is worth it here. I'm sure our own honor should be putting us. I mean, rather than spending it at this, and I sort of gesture with my finger. This place, I'm sure a friend over here might offer us some respite.
Well, money may be useless here, but is not useless here, and I point to my heart.
And I roll my eyes and say yes. Yes.
Just in the same motion that you do that, as Mariel does that, you hear a similar and see a similar gesture. Those that are perceptive enough, Bismarck, keep calling him Bismarck now.
Yes.
Ismark sits up and like rolls his eyes, and in unison, or without thinking, they both say, "Yes," as they roll their eyes.
Laugh and smile at him.
He smiles back at you.
Okay.
So, what are your thoughts, team?
That sounds good to me.
He seems to have more of a soul than the barkeep.
Yes,
Sorry,
he
Barmaid's
does.
on the brain.
This guy does seem to be a real person. That's for sure.
Yeah. Might be nice to keep it that way.
Well,
you can see the
like,
three Vistani bar owners are just sitting in their drinks. You can hear them mumbling amongst themselves, and every now and again they'll just sort of stop and glance over at the party, favorably, friendly, raise a glass every now and again. But they're not making any secret about sort of listening and watching to see what you do.
like,
Dylan.
I want to help Ismark, I guess. Sure. But, like, Pip is still my number one priority.
Safe, yes.
I'm oblivious to all of this because I've already gone upstairs.
You absolutely are.
as you say that, Dax, Pip, who's been sitting beside you on the bench, just like flops down and puts his head in your lap and just like cuddles in and begins to fade out. You can see the tiredness overtaking him as his head sort of rests his head in your thigh, and he just like snuggles in, and you hear a
Well, let me ask you, Dax.
Uh-huh.
I understand that Pip is a high priority, and Pip is in a dangerous situation as it is, of course, and we do need to protect him. But we do also need to get out of here. We can't just stay at this inn forever to make sure that he's protected. We need to get out.
Yes.
We're gonna need to leave at some point.
Yeah. So how does Ismark help us accomplish that?
Mark seems to have a lot of information about the person who seems to have trapped us here.
And as we don't know how to get out or how to go about getting out, anything we do will probably set us closer to that goal. Search for information. That's
Also,
right.
Gallus, you said that you know, you had a trick. And I look at you, and then I look at the Vistani, and I look at you again.
I raise an eyebrow and pretend that I know what's going on. Yes. True. I did say.
Okay.
I know what you're talking. Yes. Okay, now I know what you mean. Well, I mean, like that is possible, but
Gallus pulls out his character sheet and checks it quickly. Yes. Oh yes.
No. Now I understand. I remember the old trick. That old trick. Of course. The issue is that video was soundly rejected. The last time I offered it, so I'm not sure that it's a viable option.
Acid breath all over the bar. That trick.
You're only ever 4 beers away from acid breath all over the bar.
I would like to see that trick.
Which one? The throwing up all over the bar?
No, not that one. What are you talking about, man? The one with the
making sure that they tell the truth.
Don't say it out loud.
I'm.
I tried to be discreet.
It would have to be. They would have to be willing. So, I mean.
Would that work better on Ismark?
I could.
I don't think Ismark has reason to lie to us at this point.
It's the end of the evening. You know, it's kind of customary for bards to have a bit of a sing-song. Maybe, you know, how about it? I could have a little bit of a liven the place up a bit, little jig of some sort.
Yes. Sing us a song.
Aye, Barrett. Sing us a song. And you look now, after you're whispering, you can see that the three of them are just like, sort of like elbowing each other. Go on. Not many people sing around these parts.
Since you asked so nicely.
Hey, Audric.
Yeah.
10 gold says that you can't get barman to dance.
Said what?
10 gold says that you can't get the barman to dance with your song.
And the Vistani burst out laughing. 100 gold says you can't get the barman to laugh.
Oh no.
To laugh? Or to dance?
Well, I can't take any bets at the moment. I'm sorry. All bets off. I'm just doing it for the joy of singing, and I sing a song, but I am going to use enthralling performance on the Vistani.
Okay.
As I do it. Let me drop that in the chat. So they need to make a wisdom saving throw against my 15 DC. So I sing something like, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
Really, that's where you went
Just
with that.
something I don't have. I can't think of anything else.
That's that one's not bad. I like
There's
that
other-
song too.
I know, right?
Let me see if I can find their character sheets. So you went for happy and you know it.
It's something along those lines. Yeah, if you're happy and you know it's in like a sea shanty sort of way.
They feel
Hey.
the three of them are charmed by you. You can see almost even as you broke into it, they're sort of like they've never heard this song before. Clearly, perhaps they were. You can see them like almost expectantly excited to hear it, and as you break into this rendition of "Happy and You Know It," they like begin to like nudge each other, and they all begin like cackling and laughing and. Aye, very good, Bard. Very good. You got us. You got us. I'm laughing. You can see there the rest of the party watches as they're laughing and joking, and then slowly they stop their revelry and they're just entranced by the bard. You can see them just like smiling and like tapping the table along with them. You see their pupils widen.
Marvelous. Okay. Thank you very much. And I
Thank you,
wink,
Bard.
I wink at Gallus, and I ask, saying, so, you know, how did you three guys like come to own a bar? This is
Just before she finishes the song, I'm gonna go on the floor and go, "Shut up! Some of us are trying to sleep."
Yeah.
I think he should be called Grumpy, not Forgotten.
Yeah. One of the Vistani turns to the other and goes, he shouldn't really talk to him like that. Well, I agree, you shouldn't talk to him like that. He's just singing a song. Maybe we should go up and say something. No, I think they're friends. And you see them like smiling at Audric. They're just like leaning with their hands and their chins in their palms, grinning at Audric. And they say, well, we bought it fair and square, if that's what you're asking. We came
Are you
here
three fellas willing to play the truth game?
The truth game.
Yeah, with my friend Audric over here.
Vistani are quite skilled at games now, you understand. You know.
Please
I mean,
play with us.
good. Then we'll have a right good. We'll have some really good fun with it. Would you want to play it with my friend here, Audric?
Tell me, sir, is it an honest game?
A what?
Or-
Oh
First-
yeah, of course. You just have to be honest. That's the deal. Now I have to do some.
Is that a deception? Is it an honest game, or are you leading them into a game that they have that you have an unfair advantage on?
It's really like I'm. This is just a pretense for me casting Zone of Truth on them.
So it's not
And them
so it's
accepting it.
not an honest game then.
Oh, that is honest. There's nothing
I'm
more
I'm
honest.
I'm going to be saying, essentially, look, guys, I need to do a little juju magic, and you won't be able to lie. Do you want to play that game? Audric loves this game.
I will allow you to make persuasion or deception then in that case.
Persuasion.
Well, it depends on his stats. I'll let him choose. You're either deceiving them playing a game that they can't win, or you're persuading them to play a game that they don't care. Okay, yeah, you got it. They look at each other, and then look at Audric, and you can hear them like lean in and sort of mumble amongst themselves. Aye, all right, fancy man, we'll play your game. What does it consist of? Dice?
Basically, I'm gonna ask you some questions, and you have to do your best to tell the truth. But I'm gonna make sure that, I'm gonna see if
You're gonna use your holy magic to make sure that we tell the truth.
That's right.
Something
And you
like
get
that.
to ask us questions.
And
So I'm shiny man, not fancy man. If you'll remember from last session.
I'm fancy man.
Yes.
Not that
That's
they know that. That's an old
My
nickname.
friend fancy man.
they look at each other confused for a moment and say, "Well, right, whatever you want, fancy man, shiny man."
All right. Well, boom. So I'm hoping that they choose here to fail this save.
Yeah, so they're feeling. Yeah, you've rolled the persuasion, so yeah, I'll allow it. What about the rest of the party? Or because this you're affected by it if you choose to be affected by it.
Oh, 'cause we're
Everyone
in it
except
too?
Forgotten. Everyone except Forgotten also was within a 15-foot radius, so you can choose to feel and tell the truth also.
I'm gonna roll because I want to roll.
Yeah, go for it.
Spell save charisma.
Yeah.
Saving throw?
Don't tell me the answer. Roll it.
You just
and
want to try your new dice.
roll it,
Yes.
and keep it written down somewhere because they won't know it.
Okay.
And in fact, yeah. So
I
Well,
should know it,
Gallus will know it. Yeah.
right?
yeah, so
Yes.
you can whisper if you can figure out how to whisper Gals. You go back up to the top of the chat. It'll tell you how to whisper someone, or you can Discord them privately and tell them
Yeah, I'm just
if you so wish. I like the thought of it being secretive. So they like you can see them like this sort of almost imperceptible wave of magic comes out. There's a verbal and somatic component of that, and you can see them like looking at each other unsure, but not afraid of the magic at all. And they look back at it and say, "Very well, shiny man, if that's what you like to be called. Ask away. You've got nothing to hide. Vistani have no secrets."
I raise my one eyebrow. Everyone has secrets.
It tells more about you than it does about me, my lady.
Mm.
Not the Vistani. We live in the open. We speak in the open. Ask
He's in the-
away. How
he's
does
in the
this work
zone.
then?
Sure.
You ask us a question, and then we ask you a question. Yes.
Yes.
You know what? Sure. Why?
It's a game. Surely there must be rules to
Yeah,
it.
Yeah,
Not
exactly.
unless you're just making it up as you go along, shiny man.
This is a bonding exercise. So let's go. My first question to you would be, how when you say that the Vistani are protective of themselves, what exactly does that entail?
Well, we look after our own. We look after our own interests. We're not inconsiderate of others, but we are a traveling people. You understand? People have a certain dislike to us. As all people do, a dislike to strangers. If you can't tell people what town you come from, where you live, they immediately distrust. And while we have this little establishment here, we're not settled here. We come and we go.
Do you wanna ask me a question then?
And you can see them like looking amongst each other. Can we talk about it? Can we confer amongst ourselves, or is it one-on-one? What are the rules of your game?
You know what? You guys can confer. That means we can confer.
They look at each other and nod. Seems fair, and they like smile. You can see they're like almost getting into this now. You can see again they've got their between the charm and the ring of truth. Their pupils are like almost taking up their entire irises. They look like they're on something as they're swept up in this magic. They like look. You can see they like whisper amongst each other. Right? Don't you ask him. I'm not asking him that. It's a waste of a question. You're just asking. I'm not asking him about the. I'm not asking him about the cod piece. I'll ask him about something. I'll ask him something serious. So we've conferred, and we've decided. What the fuck are you, Dragon Man?
Dragon Man.
We've never seen one of your likes before. We're not being rude. We're genuinely interested. You look like a dragon, but you're a man, and you don't have a big pile of gold under you.
Oh, maybe I do. But I'm a dragonborn. I'm a paladin.
As you say, maybe I do. One of them says, "I told you should have asked about the cod piece." Shut up. Okay, Dragon Man.
Yeah, I have draconic ancestry. You ever heard of dragons? You know what a dragon is?
I know what a dragon is. I've heard of them.
I'm
Myths.
descended from them.
Descended from dragons. Right. I feel like some poor woman got pretty badly hurt along the way there, but far be it
Afraid
from us.
not. Afraid not. I'm not half dragon, half human. I'm descended from dragons.
Ribbed for extra pleasure.
Oh.
That was unnecessary. Let's get that edited out. If you'd have said scaled for extra pleasure, I'd have left it in, but now it's getting edited out. And they like look at each other confused and they're like, "All right, appreciate your honesty. Forgive
this
us.
is the zone of truth. You got to leave that in.
We come and we go, but we've heard of your types before, but we've never seen one in the flesh, in the scale, I guess.
There you go.
Ah.
Right, your turn. Or no, wait, do we get one question each? Do you get one question each? Or is it one and one?
We'll,
Is it a
we'll,
team?
we'll go one teams, one by one. All right.
Righto, carry on.
All right.
Mighty man.
Let's confer.
Conferring.
All the while, they're still looking, they're still like glaring at Audric. Look, every now and again, one of them waves hi.
I wave back.
Strahd.
Give them a smile.
You're enduring.
Finger guns.
Well, I
It
think she like.
works.
No, he likes me more. Stop that. I'm the one doing the talking.
Guys, we should ask if we left Pip here if we went off to do something, if they would protect him.
Oh my
Because
god.
he's Vistani.
I was gonna ask if they mean to do us any harm in relation to Pip. So like that would include kidnapping or something
I
like
was-
that.
Yeah,
Good. I was
good.
thinking
That one.
casting
Do that
on
one.
protection
And then
on-
we can ask if they'll protect him for us while we're gallivanting.
Yes.
What
That
a
works.
wow. That's a question to ask someone. Do you mean me? Are your intentions to hurt me or kidnap my child? Yeah. I want to see.
Two-parter.
I want to see how Chris's like team building meetings work out, how these training exercises work out. Question 1: do you intend to hurt anybody's children in this group?
It's the Apple contract. You promise not to make any nuclear weapons out of this product.
At the end of this session, will I have to run to my car?
Oh god.
I want to ask them about.
Can I ask?
um,
Can I just ask? What does this look like? Do you just shuffle off to the side? Are you doing it like a team
We're doing
huddle?
like a huddle like
Team huddle for sure.
soldiers, kind of.
American football kind of
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
all in the center. I want to ask them, like, when they leave the mists, like where do they end up? Does it change every time? Do they end up in the same spot? If
Good
Pip
question,
left the
good
mists, if
question.
the Pip left the mists, like, would he just find himself in Phandalin where we entered, or would it be like anywhere?
Right. That's a good question too. All right. First harm question. Second one, missed question. Third one, babysitting.
You're at about 3 or 4 minutes now.
Okay.
All right. I go up to them. I say, right. So we noticed that you have quite an interest, it seems, in our friend Pip here. Do you mean to do us a disservice by, for example, taking him against our will?
And you can see as you approach again, they're like enamored by this game. This is the most interesting thing that's happened, and they're all like eager to hear your question. They're rubbing their hands, and as you ask that, they all like their faces drop. And they like look at each other, and they're like, they say, "No, we have no harm against. We don't even know you. Why would we have any harm against you?"
Well, as it related to my first question, you guys said that you were very protective of yourselves.
We're protective of ourselves and each other, but unless you mean to do us harm, and no harm, but the boy's not going to do us any harm. And the point over to Pep, who's still like sleeping on the bench. Perhaps you've heard of the Vistani before, though we thought you hadn't. But not all us traveling folks are thieves and thugs.
No, but you said that you were protective of, and that he shouldn't be with us because he's Vistani. You said that.
Just
So
making
you
sure.
might understand our
It's
caution.
unusual. It's strange for a Vistani lad to leave the family. It's not an accusation.
Fair enough.
It's an odd
Thank
thing.
you.
Forgive us for protecting our own. We're so often accused of being thieves and thugs that we're still aware that thieves and thugs exist. And Vistani
I've personally never heard of Vistani before, and all I know of you so far is that you seem to be honest people.
I appreciate the sentiment, shiny man.
That's right.
Now, hit me with your worst shots. Go ahead.
and you can see they're a bit like they look a bit like, even in their charmed and truthful state, you can see they're a bit miffed by this, and they begin to like look right, and they like sort of huddle. Do you mind? And they like gesture you to like back off as they turn and do a huddle, and
Okay.
begin like muttering amongst themselves.
I turn back to the group and I say, I think that pissed them off, but probably the next question might make them a bit happier.
Cool.
What do the Vistani want to know?
We should ask them what their favorite kind of cookie is.
We can do that
They
after this bit.
they confer amongst themselves, and then they're quite quick about it. I'm not going to be unfair. They only take another sort of 30, 40 seconds to sort of confer amongst themselves, and then turn back and right. All right, we're ready.
Go ahead.
So, how do you hope to get out of here?
Well, to be honest, if you're asking me, I don't know just yet. We don't even know what means would be to get us out. All that we know is that eventually, though, like it seems that someone wants to confront us, and we'll see what the outcome of that is.
Do you
And
know how
they
we
look
would
at
be able
you
to
and
get out?
then look at each other and sort of like with a sort of almost a sad resignation nod and say, "That's a fair answer, shiny man." As Roderick steps in and says his next question. No, we don't know. We know that we're blessed. We know that we can leave when we want, but we don't know how you can get out.
Did anyone speak the truth?
You're not here.
No, I'm on about when they asked us how we were going to leave. Did any of them actually speak the truth? Because I know we were talking about the book and the map on the book.
Are you asking me or the party?
The party.
Yeah,
No, nobody's asked about the book.
I'll finish this first, and then you can talk about that. They say we don't know how you leave, and if we're being honest, travelers, I don't think you're leaving. That's not how it works. And my heart goes out to you, and whatever god you worship, but
Worry about us, dear.
you're not.
Can we
You're
become?
We
You're
find
not-
our way.
You're not in the world you know anymore.
Can we become Visani?
Where are we? Where are we?
Vistani's a
It's
blood thing.
Obviously,
Is that another question you're asking, Roderick?
yeah. Where are we then? If we're not in our world,
You can see them like looking, and one of them goes to say something, and the other one like hits him, and then like the speaker like turns and looks and like raises his hand to Audric, as in like, it's Audric. Of course I'm gonna tell him. And you can see them like deliberating, fighting. You can see their pupils begin to sort of pulsate as they fight this charm spell. And we don't know, but you're not in Toril anymore. This is a different place. We don't ask questions. We have the favor. We don't make use of it. We owe nothing to the man that lets us come and go. But this is not what do they call it? A plane, I believe they call it. This is not the same plane that you come from. Barovia is separate from the rest of the world.
And
You can see his jaw beginning to like clench as we slowly sort of halfway through the spell now. You can see him like beginning to like try and fight it off. This isn't the. You're not in Toril.
Not in Kansas anymore.
I've never been to Kansas, but I understand the reference, I think.
Yes. I'll say I understand what you mean, and that's okay. Because as I know what he's talking about. I know what he's talking about. Planes. Because of the church's history.
History check. Make me a history check, please, Mariel.
Oh my God! Oh, wait a minute.
Anybody else
Got
can
my
jump in while she's
stuff
doing that.
set up.
It's over
How do you-
to their
how do you
question
feel?
now.
Yes, their question. This is fun. This is a good game, Dallas. I am enjoying it.
They deliberate amongst themselves and you can see them now that the conversation's taken a more serious turn. You can see them deliberating amongst each other, and they look. What did Vistani ask you? They look amongst each other, and you can see them sort of almost arguing slightly, and then they turn back to Gallus, and say, "Who was the last man you killed? The last man you intended to kill, not the man that attacked you. Who was the last man that you sought out so that you could kill him, and what was his crime?"
The last man. That's like.
The last man that you sought out. Not the last man, not the last vagabond, the last bandit. The last man that you, in your shiny armor and your fancy weapon, that you sought out to kill. And what was his crime? And you can see they're quite pleased with this answer, and the three of them like fold their arms and like sit back to wait and see your response.
And I do the same thing. Sit back
It's
and
truly funny that you think that this would embarrass me. But I was walking to a town once, and a lady came up to me and asked me for a hefty sum of money as she'd lost so much. She told me that she had been robbed on her way to town. And on hearing this, instead of giving her the money that she so sought after, I found the man who'd robbed her, hunted him, and destroyed him. I'm proud of that. It is an oath that I've taken.
They look amongst each other, and sort of there's a moment where you're not sure of their reaction, and then they nod, and fair answer. Take inspiration, Gallus, if you don't already have it.
Already got it. Can I give it to someone else?
Yeah, sure.
I'll give it to Udric.
Nice.
Thank you. For my clap your hands song.
Your turn. Your turn then. And you can see them beginning to like fidget now. They're not sure how to take you now. Like their movements, their actions are made more honest by their blusters beginning to fade because of the spell. Even their confidence, their chests aren't swollen so much. Their big hand gestures have fallen. This honesty spell is showing their true character, but you can see that it's also wearing off.
I'm going to like slide my chair like in front of them. I'm gonna put one of my hands on like the person I guess who's doing most of the talking's shoulder. I'm gonna say, here's one of our last questions. Maybe we'll have a couple of other fun ones later. Can we trust you to take care of Pip while we're trying to figure out what we need to do to get out of this place?
And he goes to glance back over, but he's caught by your eyes. He goes to glance back over to confer with the man, and with your firm hand on his shoulder, he stops and looks back in the eye and says, we wouldn't harm the boy, you understand. But
I also we're not going to take him away from us, because we need to return him. We need to do it.
We wouldn't harm the boy. We wouldn't harm any boy, Vistani or no.
I'm not
but
saying you'd harm him.
We're not
Take
parents.
him away from us.
Take him where?
Oh, so we're out of the mists before we get to leave.
What? Like adopt him to live with us?
Whatever interpretation you might take from that, what I mean is take him out of this place, away from us, before we can leave.
If you're asking me, could we If you're
then
asking me, could we? Then yes, we could. If
Would
you're
you?
asking me, would we? We're not the type of men to be. We're not responsible men. We own a tavern in a dead town of dead people. We're not. We're not the person you're looking for. If you believe that the child is in grave danger, then take him. If you're looking for him to get out, perhaps another Vistani can help you. And you can see the spell's beginning to twang and sort of wave off now, and he's like fighting. You can see him fighting with himself, and the other ones are like looking amongst, and they keep going to step in and sort of join the conversation. And he raises a hand and says, "Not all Vistani can be trusted. For the whole, we're generally a good people, but we're opportunistic, and we wouldn't hurt the boy. If you're desperate, we'll take him out, but we're not fathers. That's why we own a bar in a dead town."
I turn to the group,
And I go, oh, like,
sort of shrug.
truth sketches got me.
Dax shrugs.
Okay.
You can see the spell petering now. As you stare into his eyes, Gallus, as you go to look away, you can see there's a twinkle in his eye. Nothing deceptive or anything like that, but you can see there's more. Make me a. What are you proficient in? Arcana or religion, your choice. Okay. You can see there's a twinkle. All you can discern from that it's not the cause of your spell or any other spell. That you not necessarily know that Audrix cast a spell, but it's not caused by a spell, but there's a certain divine twinkle in their eye.
Right.
Before the spell ends, I yell, "What's your favorite kind of cookie?"
And the guy immediately goes, "What's a cookie?"
Oh,
Biscuit.
you do have sad lives. We need to find them cookies.
Oh,
I'll say to
what
the
about the pastries that woman was selling?
We have one more question, I believe.
Yeah, you do.
Sure. But just before you do it, who here has a crush on me?
Here has
Sorry?
a what?
Who here has a crush on me? Come on, out with it. Let's dispel the tension.
So good.
Nope.
Reality.
Dax, you know your rule. What was your rule, Dax?
So-
Dax says no.
Embarrassing. I that was a trap question. I just wanted to prove that you all have bad taste.
From behind the party, you see one of the Vistani men. His hand slowly goes up, and then he grabs his own wrist and pulls it down again. You can see, oh, he's like wrenching his hand down to his knee, and he's like holding on to it. His face, his veins are bulging in his head as he tries to hold this wrist down.
Regan and Ring.
As I said no, Dax also says no, but I will admit I really love your shiny armor.
That's your taste, I suppose. Fair
So
enough.
our final
And your last
question.
question.
What is your final question?
It's alright. You all stood next to me.
If we may, and as it's a group game, and we hate to disturb him, but we'd like to ask the boy.
Is he awake?
Pip's
I kinda
currently
like-
lying on a bench. Dax is even if she's moved, he's still lying
Yeah.
on the bench, snoring his little head off.
I'll go up to him and just kind of like gently wake him up. Hey Pip, these guys want to ask you a question. Is that okay?
I want to ride the donkey.
What
Well, we
donkey?
don't have the donkey, but I can
Oh.
give you a piggyback tomorrow if you want.
Oh, hi Dax.
Hi.
Are we home now?
No, not yet.
No.
But is it okay if these nice men ask you a question?
Oh, the colourful men. Okay.
Yeah.
The Vistani gets up and comes over and hunkers down. Hey, little lad, and like just ruffles his hair a little bit. Like you can see, like with trepidation, sort of awkwardly, like he doesn't know how kids work, and he's scared to touch it. Like pats him on the head and ruffles his hair slightly. Little man, I believe you're your friends here have quite the skills about them, and I believe that whatever I'm going to ask you now, you're going to tell me the truth, but you'd do that anyway, wouldn't you, little man? And Pip like looks confused and begins to like rub his eyes and goes to sit up. Are you safe with these people, little man? Do you feel safe with these little people? You can see Pip like looks around the party and sort of takes them all in one by one. Glances towards Dax, over to Marielle. Glances at Gallus and like looks a bit like stranger danger, and then looks back and goes, "Yeah, I'm safe. I'm safe." And the guy, "All right, little one," and again like awkwardly pats him in the head. Right, so who won the game then? Did we win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I fucking told you. Yes. And you can see the spells like worn off now, and they like yes, and they like high five each other. Arik, another round of beers for everyone. And the barman like slowly nods and goes and begins like filling up tankards. And I think we can fade out on that scene if everybody's ready to move on.
That evening,
Mark.
I have.
I think he's just kind of awkwardly sitting there.
Yeah. Ismark's just been sitting at the other end of the bar, sort of every now and again looking up, but for the excitement that's been going on, he's just like staring into his tankard.
That evening. Wait. First off, Pip, who do you want to bunk with tonight? / what are the rooms?
I don't understand.
Okay, asking everybody else. Are we all sleeping in our own rooms, or for, since this is a strange town, should we kind of bunk together?
Lean over and say, "Do we each get a bath with that room?"
Wouldn't count on it. It just doesn't look like a hot water place.
You might get a bath, but the water won't be hot and the bath might not be clean.
Ooh.
Never mind. We can bunk together if you'd like.
Yeah, I think I would prefer that. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. We've heard tell of two people who something is trying to get in at night. So bunking together is probably a good idea.
Okay. And then, if nobody else wants to do anything that evening, when everybody's asleep.
Well, I think we've still got Ismark here to, if you're wanting to. You can see Ismark now.
Oh, sorry.
Sort of like as the night's going on, and as you finish this conversation, you can see him like downing the last of his whatever's in his tankard, and goes to stand up and sort of dusts himself down. You can see he's wearing this like what would once have been sort of light leather armor, but in a more dressed style, a more formal style, and begins to like sort of nods, almost apologetically, a little bit disappointed, sort of nods at the party and heads towards the door. Goodbye, Arik, and the barman. And Bismarck goes to the door and lifts the little lever.
I say we're going to help that man, and he doesn't stop.
Are you saying that to Ismark?
I'm saying that to the party and room in general.
Oh, yeah, I guess we should probably tell him.
We would follow him. Hey, wait!
He stops, door half open, and looks down resignedly at the party. Yes?
And I'm looking at Gallus and looking around.
I'm afraid I cannot answer your questions, but I wish you well on your adventure.
Gallus looks extremely conflicted right now.
Extremely what?
Conflicted.
Were we supposed to help him tonight?
It's
yeah.
He said, "I'll recount." Like I'll recount. So this man's told me that the Dark Lord has been visiting his sister.
As you're recounting this, he's sort of standing at the door half open, like looking at the party.
I'm gonna just go over to him. I'm gonna grab his arm and just drag him over.
And he looks a bit like as you reach him, you can see he's got like a short, like a dirk tucked into the back of his leg, and you can see his hand go for the hilt.
I'll put my
in a nervous way.
I'll put my palm up, and then I'll do it a little bit slower. But I'll put my arm around like his shoulder,
And he sort of
like give him a
timidly.
couple of pats, and bring him in, like towards the party.
Okay.
This man said that the Dark Lord has visited his sister on multiple occasions. And the next time that this might happen, could be the last. I
Oh,
think we need to help this guy.
okay.
I'm sorry. I thought you said that you recounted what he said to us before. Okay.
He said it to me, and I guess I'm recounting it to you now.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm sorry. I thought we already heard that, but
Yeah, we like it
You
meta.
did it in
Yes.
brief. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. So I guess maybe we go stay with him tonight.
Would
you
that
can
be
see-
okay?
As you're having this conversation, you can see him like looking like not really sure about like what's going on now. And as Gala says, "Does that be okay?" He's like, "Yes, you may. You may come
were
and stay."
Some protection, right? And you'd
Yes,
like,
for my sister.
yeah. So,
Okay.
I mean, do you want us to or not? Like,
You may come and stay at the house. Of course, you may. Anything to keep the house safe.
Okay. Well,
And you
we've
can see
picked
he looks exhausted and a little bit drunk and a little bit like desperate.
Despair.
I'm going to run up the stairs and go into wherever Forgotten is.
Yep. Turns up the
Oh.
stairs. You get to the top of the stairs and it's a long corridor with doors on either side. 4 doors on one side, 5 on your right.
Okay, I'll go back downstairs. Which one's the smelly guy in to the Vistani
Is it
man?
there? Follow your nose.
And they they look at you and like shrug. And Arik like up.
Oh,
He's
were
up.
all the doors closed?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll attempt to follow my nose. That's probably a good idea.
Perception check. Third door on the left. You get that woody, earthy stank.
Decent
But-
5, right?
The bad mix. There's a like a good compost with a hint of body odor.
Right. I'll go in there, and I'll sneak in like quietly, and then once I
stealth check
Yeah.
versus
Good,
his
good.
passive perception, because I think it's safe to say the woodsman will be sleeping by now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he fails.
You're awoken by the door of your room opens.
Forgotten, get up! Everything's on fire!
That was a waste of that was a waste of a stealth check. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Dun, dun,
I
dun,
was
dun.
gonna do it right in his face, because I'd like.
Yeah.
whoever-
You get halfway through the room before you hear like a hand sliding across the duvet as though reaching for a weapon. As you shout, "Everything's on fire!" How do you react? Forgotten.
Shut up, you fool. I'd be able to smell it by now.
But
And
anyway,
I'm going to try and curry in a bit more into my blanket.
we shan't be sleeping here. We're off to help a friend of ours.
What friend? I
Man
don't
that I met
recall having
downstairs.
friends.
Oh.
I'm your friend, and I put my hand on his shoulder. Don't worry. We're good friends. And then I try and grab him and drag him out of bed.
Here we go.
This
What
will
don't you
become
understand about touching me? And I'm going to use my spider staff to push him away. And keep them at the full length of the spider staff distance away from me.
Understood. So,
Bloody Dragonborn.
so a weary, sleepy-looking, smelly man wakes up and begrudgingly robes and follows Gallus out down the stairs. You get down, you can see now that Ismark is rubbing his hands, the despair in his eyes now turning into sort of a glimmer of hope, mixed with like a heavy nervousness. You can see that he is not a heavy set man. He's slight, but you can tell that now seeing him standing up, watching him move, you can see that he's not unskilled. He looks like someone trained in the ways of martial skill, but he looks haggard. He looks drawn.
While Gallus was going to go get Forgotten, I would want to go up to the Vasani men. Oh, first off, is Pip sleeping again?
Pip's now just sitting with his little legs crossed on the bench, just like looking around, rubbing his eyes, wide-eyed, confused.
Okay. I'll sit across the table from Pip and be like, Pip, are you okay if you stay here with the Vasani men for a night? We need to go save some people.
I don't
think that's a good idea,
no,
Dax.
I don't. Because eyes go wide. I don't want to stay. No, I don't know them, Dax.
No,
That's
you
fair.
You can come with us.
Fuck.
I want to go home, Dax. I want to go home. I want to
I
go
know.
and see my daddy.
Fuck.
I'm
Jack
being
slightly
brave. I
cringes.
promise. I'm being brave. I'm being as brave as I can. But I want to go home and see my mum now.
You're being very brave.
And you can see like
It's
he's
okay.
like his little lip is quivering, but you can see he's like trying to bulge his shoulders out. He's trying to like bulk himself up, but his little lips going and his eyes begin to well up.
Okay. I come around the other side of the table and I pick him up. We're gonna go stay somewhere else for tonight, okay?
And he just limpets to you. He holds you legs and arms around you so tight that you reckon you're never gonna get this kid off you again.
Okay.
Do you
I
depart?
guess to his mark.
Talking to the bat.
As you depart the tavern, you can see that whatever little light was cast through this fog is now almost all gone. As Mark leads you out and says, "It is at the end of the town. That is the traditional house for the burgomaster."
The Burger Master?
Burger
The-
Meister.
I forget you are not from here. The burgomaster. He is the leader of the town.
Does he like really like burgers?
I do not know what a burger is.
No cookies, no burgers. Man, rough life. Let's see why you guys are so upset all the time.
Yes, that
I-
is what it is. It's the lack of burgers and cookies. Anyway, shall we go?
Up or down?
And he begins heading off down towards the.
Down. Cool.
So
Well,
he leads
while
you.
we're
Yeah, carry on.
sorry, while we're walking down, I'm gonna change my armor so that I look less Vistani and more like Ismark.
List.
Just kind of make it look like smart, like very nice, well-tailored leather studded armor.
Are you using a spell to do this, or
with
your
a
disguise kit?
six-pack. That's my glamorous armor. I can just go fancy and
Oh,
it changes.
that's right. That's right. Yeah. So at one point you're walking down the street and he's sort of glancing around and glancing around almost just to check that you're still there, and he sort of catches you and sort of looks with his eyes and like looks confused for a moment as your attire has changed, and then like resignedly shakes his head and turns and heads on down. And as you head down, you end up through, even with a thin mist, it takes a while. You must be within 40-50 meters before you can see this large, what appears to be a mansion. No better repair than any of the other buildings around here. It's a weary looking mansion. It squats behind rusting iron fence. The iron gates are twisted and torn. They look like they've been ripped apart almost. The right gate lies cast aside on the ground and like bent almost double, while the left swings lazily in the misty wind. The stuttering, squealing clang of the gates repeats with mindless precision. You can hear the dung, dung, dung as you approach in the mist before you even see it. Weeds choke the ground and press upon the house itself. The walls, the growth has been tramped down to create a path all around. You can see that while the plants have almost overtaken, there's almost a perfect path around the house where the ground's been trampled down. Heavy claw marks have stripped what looks like what once have been a beautiful house. The finish has been scraped off by what looks like scrapes and claw marks. Great black marks tell of fires that have been built against the mansion or thrown against the mansion. There's not a pane or a shard of glass less than any window, although all the windows are barred with planks from the inside. Each has like these little runes or these little markings carved into them, and you can see nails poking through the frames from the inside. And the house looks like it's been assaulted.
What happened here? This place looks damn right depressing.
And as Mark turns to you and like with a sort of resigned chuckle says, "Yes, that would be a good way to say it. Perhaps my sister can tell you more. Please come. She does not have guests readily, but she will hear my voice and let us in. If you still wish to help us, and I hope that
Like
you
you
do.
need help.
We do. We so desperately do.
I'm going to turn to Gallus and go, what have you got us into?
What? Look, we're in a weird, misty village. Okay? I didn't bring us here. I was trying to help you guys back in Phandalin. What do you mean, what did I get you into?
Who
You
is
guys
this
made-
guy? Why are we helping him? You said that you arranged this, so what the hell are we doing here?
I mean,
We
this
are
guy
looking-
needs our help. We should be helping.
Help with what?
We're looking
Fixing
for
this place up?
knowledge.
Yeah, yeah, DIY. That's what he asked us to do, right? Right,
And as you turn to say that, he stamps a foot in the ground and says, "Enough! If you do not wish to help me, then I will find a way to help my sister of my own. But this discord, this sedition that comes from the mist, this broken friends, I will not watch it again. If you wish to help me, then do so. But I do not wish to hear you bickering amongst yourselves."
no
And
fighting.
he turns and storms towards and like slams open the last remaining gate as it sort of crashes on its hinge, and then the hinge breaks and it like goom, falls to the ground, and he stomps up to the door and like begins like doof, doof. "Arena, it is me. I have returned home." And you're sort of 20 feet back, and you can see like one of the between the boards of what would have been a nice like a ornate windows down either side of the main doors. You see like a little light approaching as though someone on the inside has a candle. "The choice is yours, my friends, but do not bring your arguments into my house. There is enough darkness here already." And we'll leave it there for a break. Take 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
Cool.
Alice is about to drag Forgotten through the house.
Yeah.
Forgotten has no idea why the hell we're even here.
Yeah.
Because no one's elected to tell him anything. He's just been rudely awoken and he's pretty pissed off.
Yep. Come on, we're going to go and help this guy who says his sister's in great danger. What? Fair.
To be honest, that little outburst, we might need to protect her from him. Very,
You can see that he's desperate. Don't get me wrong. He looks like he can handle himself, but he looks desperate
okay.
and frustrated. I'm not trying to sway you at all. You can make perception.
Perception.
Perception is my favorite stat.
You can make perception checks to see if you discern anything.
Is that perception and insight at the same time?
Yeah. Insight. This for things like this, insight's a much better skill to roll, but it's just standard D&D perceptions that when you roll. If you would like to make an insight check, who's most good with people?
Well,
No one.
technically, it should be me.
Yeah, no, but we're in the fiction. Who's the most good with people?
I've got like 18 charisma. I'm like Mr. Charming.
That doesn't mean you perceive people better. That means
Oh
that you.
no, then.
Yeah.
That's
I would
how
say
I have really good perception.
Gallus or Mariel. So
Yeah.
I'm also
make me.
proficient in. I'm
Well,
proficient in perception.
Gallus, or sorry, Chris said insight, so you can make me an insight check if you want, Gallus, and see if we can give you any more.
Whoa.
Boof. You've seen this before, and how Gallus takes this is up to you. But he looks like a warrior, a fighter that has given up. How that reflects on Gallus and what Gallus thinks of this, and with his oaths and his honors, he looks like a fighter who has lost the will to fight.
Demoralized.
He demoralized is exactly the word that would come to Gallus's head, but more than that, given up. He's not simply retreated. He is left the. He's on the verge of leaving the fight. And we'll leave it at that, and I'll see you all in 5.
Okay.
So, we rejoin the party as they stand outside what you now know to be the Burgomaster's Hall, and the Burgomaster's Mansion, rather. And Ismark is standing now, whispering at the door, and you can hear him almost having an argument with someone on the inside.
Guys, he said that he had seen the mist causing friends to fight. I think that's very pertinent to our search for knowledge in this place. Trying to figure out what's going on.
No, sister, they will help us. Please open the door. It will be okay.
Did he say that the mist was causing people to fight?
Yes, he did. He said he'd seen that before. And he didn't want to see it again. That's why he got so upset. Goddamn flies. Start waving my hand around.
Alright, well, let's try to be as friendly to one another as possible.
Yes, keep that in mind. Forgotten and Gallus. And I'll look at Forgotten and say, he's young. I don't know. I can't tell with these Dragonborns. He's the first I've known, but he's young. Try to keep that in mind. You've forgotten your lessons as you've aged, I guess. Or you've forgotten what it is to be young. And be patient. I'll try to help train him out of it. And then I'll walk up to the sad-eyed man. And hello, dear. I'm sorry. It's just us. We're trying to help.
Yes, she will. She is nervous. She will let us in but a moment. Irina, they are here to help. Trust me, sister. It's I.
Yes, dear. We only want to help.
There's a moment's silence before you hear what sounds like a heavy bit of wood being moved. And the door creaks open, and all you can see is these piercing green eyes and what appears to be like red auburn hair sort of hanging down as they... Brother, what have you brought here? You cannot help us. Quickly, Helena, open the door. And he like pushes the door open and she stands back, and he ushers the rest of the party in. Come quickly, and he begins like looking side to side from this this ravaged door that looks like it's been scarred and burnt.
I'll come in behind the door and put myself next to the girl.
Please hurry, and he gestures to the rest of the party.
Come. You guys coming in?
The runes on the windows, do they look familiar to me?
Make me a whatever check you feel most appropriate. Whatever check Dax would make.
I guess Arcana.
So I'm gonna approach the door and look at the scratches to see if they're made from animals.
Perception. You don't recognize the runes, Dax.
Nope.
Forgotten. They look like claw marks, as though from some sort of large animal. You can tell from even the experience that you remember. With an 18, you're able to gauge that they look like something bearing down on the door. A large creature. The distance between the claws looks rather large.
Something as large as a bear, or larger or smaller?
No larger than a bear. Probably most of them look about that, if not smaller. But the odd one does look... It's hard to tell. It looks like these have happened over a long period of time, and a lot of them have been overlapped and burnt away by this fire markings on the wall, on the door. The whole house is covered in these. Certainly the whole lower floor anyway, but you do see some reaching higher up.
Interesting.
While
Interesting
Forgotten's
claw marks
inspecting the claw marks, I'm gonna pretend to drag him in, but I'll stop like halfway through.
Yeah, so we
Hands
see,
off, Dragon Man.
so we see
I wink.
Forgotten.
I wink, guys. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Please, we have no
Oh,
time for
man.
jesting. Please come. And he like ushers the rest of the party in, and like, as you step in, you can't see her, and as you step in, the door slams heavily behind you. As she like has been waiting behind the door and slams it, and immediately puts like a heavy drop bar, like a heavy plank of wood, across the door, and like backs up against the door, wide-eyed. You're met by this. I'll show you her now. This
Right.
striking young woman with auburn hair, pale of skin, and very nervous. The same sort of haggard look in her eyes, but far more sturdy than far more determined looking than he is. She has a sword at her side, and she's got her hand on the hilt, ready to draw. And she backs up and says, Ismark, why are these people? Why did you bring them here? Strangers. They cannot help us. Who are you? Why have you come here?
We're the adventurers, and to be honest, we're lost.
And she sighs, and her hand slips from her sword, and she says, Oh, bless us all. Heroes, come to save us all, yes?
Sure,
Great. Fantastic.
I sense sarcasm.
Good.
Oh,
So as you look about now, as you can see her like turns to Ismark and begins like talking to him, drags him off to the side and begins sort of like whispering to him. You look around, you can see that the interior of the mansion is well furnished. Yet the fixtures show sign of great wear. They look old, probably quite expensive, quite noble at one point, but now caked in dust and wear. Uh, Noticeable oddities that you can see are the boarded up windows and the presence of holy symbols in every room. Holy symbols that Mariel will recognize from various faiths and various followings that are just sort of nailed here, hither and yon in the walls.
Good or neutral gods?
Generally, make me a religion check.
Ooh.
Can I help? Actually, I would have tried to help.
Yeah, you can make a separate religion check. Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can confer with her and help her.
Yeah, I would have wanted to confer with her
Okay.
if I noticed what she was doing.
Yeah, so rather than give advantage, I add +2 to the roll because the advantage is powerful. Cool. So the 16, they all, not all of them you recognize, but the ones you do recognize are good aligned deities. The ones you recognize are in temples that you visited, both of you. Whether Gallus agrees with all of these deities or not, and I shan't name them all because that would take a while, but they're all of what you would know to be in good stead, if not with each other, then with the general populace. As you glance around, there is a drawing room off to one side, and you do notice that there's a wooden coffin in front of like a chaise lounge in it, with an older man with his arms crossed, lying in this coffin.
I eyes go
10 feet
wide,
or so.
and I look at them, and I
Who's
look at
this?
the coffin. What? What's going on here?
And as Mark said, and she like, oh, I told you they would not help us. And as Mark says, this is my father. This is Kolyan.
Why is he
dead?
In your living room? Dead? Yes. Why is he dead? And then why is he in your living room?
He's in our living room because I am not able to take him to the chapel on my own. He's heart give out. He cannot. Come, we will sit. I will tell you whatever you want to know. My sister. It is to do with my sister. And he looks at her, and you can see her like she's like begins to like go to stomp her feet, and he like pats her in the shoulder, and you can see her like, enough of this. They cannot help us.
Can I take a closer look at the body?
Would you like to approach the
what would
body?
that be? Yeah, yes, please.
You can do investigation if you're touching, perception if you're just looking, or
I
any other
guess
stat.
I wouldn't want to touch because that would be probably rude. But
Well,
Rude.
it's up to you. If you can think of it, if you can make an argument for another stat, I'm happy to let you do that.
yeah, I'll just look.
Medicine or religion, whatever you
Oh,
want.
Would be
Perception.
Yes.
I can see a body.
Yeah.
It's dead.
Yeah. Gallus turns to the party and goes, I think he's dead.
It's a wall.
I'm gonna look around at the furniture and the ornateness, and and see if it's anything I've ever come across before, anything that tries to jog my memory or anything like that. Considering they think I'm from here.
Okay. What rule would you like to make for
No idea.
Memory.
History
one.
check.
that? Yeah. History sounds good to me. With a 15, you've never seen this furniture before, yet it doesn't seem out of place to you. The towns you've been to recently, certainly since you've met the party, you're uncomfortable in, and you're uncomfortable here, but it's not the same as in Fandolin, in the what would be the comparatively bright lights of Fandolin. There's a certain homeliness to this place for you.
Loneliness as in home rather than as in ugly.
Not as in home, but just as in there's more familiarity than somewhere like the Stonehill Inn, where perhaps the Forgotten just felt like he would rather be back in the woods, and he certainly feels that here. This is more familiar than the bright lights of Phandalin, which it would have been to Forgotten comparatively to his wanderings.
He left Fandolin every chance he got. When we
Yep.
slept at night.
Exactly.
Yes.
Audric, what are you doing as you're? You can see Irina like glancing you up and down, like taking in your attire. Now that you're wearing attire similar to her own, and she is wearing a similar attire to her brother, if a little more ornate.
I'm certainly looking her up and down, posing for her eyes.
She scoffs.
Whatever.
I'm on medicine check on the body.
Okay. Even with that, you can discern little other than he's dead, and he's been dead for maybe a day or two.
Okay, that was my question.
Ismark steps in and says, "Please come and sit," and he leads you into the room that the father is in, and gestures to you. He's in front of one of these chaise lounges, and there's like a fancy sofa opposite him, and he gestures you in to sit, and says, "You must have a lot of questions. Please allow me to answer. My sister has been. The house has been besieged. Oh, where do I even start?
What creatures have been attacking?
What do you know of this land? You are new here, no? What do you
Yes.
know?
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
We can't get out of it. That I know.
Yes, none of us can get out of it. I will. You can see he's overwhelmed. He doesn't know where to start, and he says, "I guess I will start. I guess I will start here. The lords of the land, the one they call Strahd." And you hear Irina like scoffing at the side. She's now come in and closed the doors to the drawing room, and she's standing like arms folded, stern and sort of scoffing at the whole thing. She has no time for you or this help from her brother, and he is obsessed with my sister. He sends these creatures to attack in the night. He comes to see her. He comes to visit. He wishes to take her away and make her one of his brides, one of his creatures. And she steps in and says, "That will never happen, Ismark. I will never let him take me." "Oh no, sister? Are you sure about that?" and you can see her like her face like drops as though some secret has been revealed, and she like scoffs at him. You know nothing.
Is that
And he
him?
turns back to the
Okay.
and he turns back to the party and says, "Last night I fear. Last night I fear he was in the house. It is said that
Oh,
vampires," and as he's saying this, he's making eye contact with her, and you can see her. She's like gritting her teeth and biting her lip, but he's like trying to hold her eye contact. It is said that people of his kind, the ones they call vampire, cannot enter a dwelling without invitation. And yet it seems he was here. And you can see her face now just drops.
So how long has this obsession been inflicting your household?
For months now. The Lord Strahd does not often pass this way. But he was here a few months ago, and as soon as he set eyes upon Irina, he became infatuated. He offered my father everything: freedom, a life without suffering, gold, jewels. My father, being a good man, said no, and that is when the house began to be attacked. Strahd would visit. My father would open the door and speak to him like an honest man, knowing, or at least suspecting, that he could not cross the threshold. Strahd swore that the attacks were nothing to do with him, that he wished only to speak with Irina. And she cuts in, "I can speak for myself, brother. Yet you do not, sister."
So this house has been under siege.
Siege would
But
be
yet,
the word.
did anyone ask Irina what her thoughts on this were?
She is a
Did anyone
stubborn.
ask if you would like to go with Strahd?
And he looks at you like in confusion and disgust. Who wishes to go? What man, or particularly woman, wishes to go with that monster and become a slave? Girls from the town disappear. Little more than women. They disappear, and if they are seen again, they are mindless creatures at his side.
sound good.
Who invited him in then?
Did you invite him in?
And he glances towards Irina, and Irina makes eye contact with him, and then her head drops, and you can see like the stern, sort of sturdy, unbreakable face. Still, she's biting her lip, and you see tears begin to run down her eyes. And I do not remember. He comes. He whispers to me in the night. Comes to my windows on the second floor, and hear his voice in my dreams. He knocks on the door and he whispers to me. I remember opening the door, telling him to leave me be. But I remember little else.
I think you need to not ever open a door and stay away from the windows at night.
Is there another in the house who could have let him in? A servant, perhaps?
There is no one in the house but me and my... There was no one in the house but me and my father. I fear it is too much for him, and his heart is given out.
Is it possible that your father has been turned and is now letting Strahd in?
I watched my father die. I do
How
not
did he
think he is
die?
one of his minions. I have seen my father speaking. to the Dark Lord himself. Whatever charms or wiles the Dark Lord has. My father was stubborn enough to resist him. We had an argument. I
Oh.
said that I was no longer willing to be locked up in the house. I wanted to leave to face whatever fate was set for me. It was too much. He began clutching at his chest, and he fell to the floor.
Oh.
This was 2 days ago. Ismark, my loyal, stupid brother, built this coffin for him. But he's not strong enough to take it to the chapel on his own. And it seems I am
Can
not
help with
allowed
that
to leave.
tomorrow.
He has taken up the mantle of his father and is refusing to let me leave this house. What do you think, travelers?
Is
I
only
wish to know more about the creatures that attack your house.
is it only at night that they attack?
Only at night.
Is it every night?
Every night. For months. From the day I saw him in the street and he saw me and claimed I was his.
So we can get the casket to the church tomorrow during the day, and we will keep watch tonight and see what we can see.
And Ismark turns to the party and says, I would be ever so grateful for that. I would wish only that my father has an honest burial. But
Good.
I fear there is more.
Or what?
Tell me more about the creatures that have been attacking. What are they? How big are they? What numbers do they come in?
We cannot
And why is
always.
there a trampled circle around your house?
We cannot see them when they attack, but we hear their howls. It is wolves. And people, we hear their whispers. They mock and they cackle at the windows. Underneath the cracks. At the bottom of the doors.
I expect that the trampled circle is from the creatures trying to get in and circle in the house. Is that not so?
That is so. Some days they come and they batter at the doors. Some nights they come and they simply whisper and scratch, tormenting us.
And the fire damage?
We do not know. With the windows boarded, we dare not peek outside.
Are there
But we hear the
explosions?
crashes. Whether just more than torches, it sounds like, thrown against the walls of this place. It is a wonder we have not burned to death, but that is not what he seeks. We must, Irina, we must tell them. She puts her head down and begins to shake her head. He does not simply
dear.
wish to take her. He believes she is his soulmate. He believes that she is the reincarnation of his dead wife. Or wife was not the right term. His dead lover, his dead soulmate. No, you misunderstand. Strahd, the monster, has only ever had one great love. Whatever other pleasures he takes, it is said that he has only ever loved one woman. And she killed herself to escape him. And
I
now
was
he
going to
believes.
say how romantic till then, till you told me that.
And now he believes that my dear sister is the reincarnation of his wife. This is why we must seek help from you. The people of the village will not help us. They will not speak to us. They cross the street when they see Irina. Now they cross the street when they see me. We are cursed. We are cursed by this land, by the curse of Barovia, by the curse of Strahd.
Do you remember before there was a curse on this land?
I am too young to remember then. Well, from the people I've spoken to, from my father, he tells me this is the way Barovia has always been.
Is there a certain time that these creatures come? Is it usually around the same time, or is it sporadic?
Usually in the middle of the night. Usually,
What?
just when we begin to drift off. If we wait for them, as we have many nights, prepared in case they break our barricades, in case they burst through the door to attack us. We wait with torch and sword in hand, but they do not come. And finally we are resigned, and we begin to drift into uneasy slumber. That is when the shutters begin to rattle.
Don't it
That
figure?
is when the mist creeps beneath the door, and the whispers start at the windows, and the howls begin.
If we are to help you defend this place, we must prepare soon, before the mist thickens too much.
I do not wish you to defend this place. This is but a house. I wish you to take my sister and take her far away from here.
We'd love to do that, but we can't leave either.
We've already got somebody we're trying to protect. I think the best thing to do would.
And as you say
Kill
that,
these
he
things.
like looks over towards Pep, who's now still like, I'm assuming, hanging on your hip, Dax,
Yeah.
snoozing. And yes, this is a strange place for travelers to bring a little one. Adventurers
Wasn't our
come.
choice.
Adventurers occasionally pass through Barovia, and I would hold out little hope. As you see, Irina has no faith in you. For adventurers come and go, but I hoped a party who would have a child with them would be considerate enough, compassionate enough to at least consider helping us. Perhaps I ask too much of you.
No, we want to help. I just don't think we can help in that way. I think
we need
fighting would be our best offer of help.
Can we speak for a moment? Dax, if we are looking after both her and Pip, maybe she can take care of Pip while we fight. So looking at her, she's got a sword. Does she look like she can use it? Sorry, that was a...
Perception check, yeah? Or insight check. Whatever you prefer. Insight into her character. I'm not sure. I think even without that, you can see, you can make a roll, but even without that, you can see that what she is, she looks like she can definitely handle a sword. She is not burly by any means, but she looks solid. She looks tired and she looks more composed than he does, but she looks like she can hold a sword. You can see that she's wearing a similar sort of almost it's a light armor, but it's more dress than anything else. But she looks like she can handle herself.
So what do you want to do? You want to take her with us and wander the mists until we can find a way out of here?
No. Tonight we have our job here.
She says,
see what we can see.
She interrupts, do not speak about me as though I am not here. I am not dead yet.
We're not looking for you to be dead.
Then why you speak of me? Why do you speak of me as if I'm not here? You want me to be some sort of babysitter for you?
No, we're just trying to figure out what course of action we should do. Your brother's saying that
What are you
he
doing
wants us to
bringing a
take you
child
away
to
from.
Barovia? Do you
Oh my
know
god,
Barovia
people keep
that
asking us this.
you're bringing a child to Barovia? You think
It wasn't our
Didn't mean to.
choice. Oh my god.
What
Sick
is
of
it?
this question.
A lucky charm? You bring a Vistani child to Barovia and he will save you?
No.
He's the key to let you escape from this place.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Wouldn't that be nice?
He got abducted by vampires. We chased them into the mists, and we saved the boy and ended up here. That's what happened. That's why we have a child here. It's not that we meant to bring a child to Barovia.
She
It
narrows
just
her
happened,
eyes at
I'm sure.
at your sort of blunt honesty with Audric's charisma. She narrows her eyes and says, "Perhaps I have spoken too soon. I meant no offense. But this is no place for a child."
Agreed.
Thanks.
We gathered that.
Perceptive one.
I have a question. How did you think that we were going to get out?
Are you speaking to her or him?
Her, because she was or him, both of them.
She says, "I do not think you're going to get out."
What about you, man?
As
Mark?
Mark opens his mouth to speak and then sighs and, "I do not know. What do you want from me? I'm simply trying to protect my sister."
positive.
The Vistani said that our souls are now trapped here.
Right, it.
And he sighs as Mark sighs as though all his hopes have just been broken. And yes, so they say.
Is that? Can you tell us anything about the Vistani?
They are travelers, bandits, harmless on the most part, but do not trust them if you meet them on the road. They will take your coin purse and give you a story in exchange. Or perhaps not. Perhaps they will just give you a story. Or perhaps they will just take your coin purse.
When he mentions coin purse, I quickly check my pockets for my money.
Everything appears to be as it should be.
Cool.
You wish
I
for
mean-
her to leave, but yet
I wish for her to survive. I can look after myself, Ismark. Really, sister? Then tell me what happened last night. And she like bows her head. And you can see like, and then she opens her mouth to shout at him again. And he stands up and reaches for her, and like they tussle. They begin tussling, and he like pulls aside one of her collars, this large collar that she has, and you can see now she has 2 large bite marks. "What is this, sister?" And she shoves him, and he like she shoves him 2-handed, and he goes flying across the room and like falls to the floor. "I bring these people to try and help you, and you cannot even be honest with them." And she begins like rubbing at her neck.
Can I check her with the medicine check?
You can. She has 2 bite marks on her neck.
What made them?
From the little you have seen so far, they look like pierce marks. She's not been torn at. She's not been clawed at. There was no. You would expect animals that you're familiar with, to bite and tear, bite and pull. These just look like 2 little welts on her neck now. 2 little red dots.
Did you get bit by like a really big spider?
She like laughs.
Maybe.
She like laughs and begins to like self-consciously rub her neck. "I do not remember."
Is
I
that
don't like
her?
spiders.
I do not expect
Not a
you to
fan.
protect me. That is my brother's place.
You need it.
If you need a place to stay, you may stay. I cannot stay here any longer. I must go. I have
Where are you
nothing left
going?
here. Into the woods. Through the mist. What would you do? Should I live here like a shut-in? live my life. My father would have me live like Mary's daughter, locked away all my life. Never
So
seeing
you're,
what
so
passes
you're
for
going to give
sunlight
in.
here again.
So you're going to give in and go become one of them?
To give in would be to live in this house, locked away until either they get me or I die like my father did.
At least you die fighting.
What is there to fight? He cannot be killed. He cannot be defeated.
Going to work on that. That's our
Everything
job.
will die in time.
And she
What do you-
laughs and sort of like, you do not understand. And turns and like makes her way towards the door and begins to open the doors again on her way out. You are new here, and I forgive you your ignorance. But you do not understand Barovia. I do not want to disappoint you, my friends, but you cannot kill him. Well, you can certainly try. It is said he has died before. It is not simply that this is his land. He is the land.
What do you know of Madame Eva?
Oh, the fortune teller. I have thought of seeking her out myself. But I
Why don't
suspect
you-
she will tell me what I already know.
Why don't you wait and go with us to Madame Eva tomorrow?
That's what I was thinking.
Once we give your father a real funeral. That-
You seek the seer.
Funeral then seer.
And
We have questions that only she can answer.
She pauses. She's addressing you over her shoulder, and she pauses and turns. And as Mark says, "Please, sister, it's better than wandering off into the mists."
Yes, it is. I think so.
Our experiences of the mist are not good.
And she sort of scoffs again and says, "Yes, welcome to Barovia. Perhaps I will think on this. Please do not think me ignorant or rude, but I do not believe you can help me. I do not believe anyone can help me. That is not giving up. That is being self-aware."
It is despair.
Well,
And
maybe
Despair.
somebody should put on their positive pants, and then
this-
everything will be better.
Is that what you call those things you're wearing? Positive pants?
One name for them. Yeah, I'm always happy in these pants. Have you
And
seen
you
how
can see
shiny
like,
they are?
and you can see like make me a persuasion check.
Persuasion or perception?
Persuasion or performance if you prefer. If you're depending on how Dax is playing this.
Yeah, I'll do a little like bum
Shimmy,
dance
shimmy, shake.
with them. Yeah, shimmy, shimmy, shake. So I'll do performance check with advantage because I can because I'm dancing. Oh boy. Ooh. 15.
She opens her mouth. You can tell immediately she's gonna spit some sarcastic comment at you, and her face cracks, and the side of her mouth rises, and she like laughs under her breath, and you can see like a relief almost wash over her, like it's the first time she's laughed since she can remember. I like your enthusiasm.
Positive pants. They work. See,
Perhaps
told
we
ya.
will. Perhaps we will speak again in the morning. Until then, don't split the party. And she turns and closes the door.
Well, you're part of the party now, so where the fuck are you going?
Forgive my sister. She is a strong woman. She is stubborn.
She went outside?
No, she's
Did
just
we
left
not-
she's left
Okay.
the room, the parlor that you were in. And you can hear her like going up the stairs to the upper rooms. Forgive my sister. She has not given up. I will not. She is stubborn, but I will not have that said about her.
Well,
Some
she
days
said,
I
"Don't-"
prefer she would give up. I would
Should
do as my father wished and lock her in the attic, but she would only fight her way out.
She
should probably
said
stay with us tonight.
Yeah,
said
shouldn't
not to
we-
split the party, so we better go up there after her, right? That's, I
What?
guess, what she meant. And I'll
She-
start heading up the stairs.
I
Uh,
think
think
it is time we prepare.
Yeah. Audric, what? What?
don't think that we should leave her alone, and I point to my neck.
Yeah. Agreed.
Esmark
But
immediately
fuck
steps
knows
in.
what she's gonna do.
Esmark immediately steps up and raises his hands, as though to like say something, and then stops himself and says, "Do you know? Do you know what this is?
The neck?
The neck. Do you know what
It,
this
it
means?"
attaches your head to your shoulders.
No, the
He looks
bite
at you
mark.
confused.
Oh,
Remember?
spider bite. It's a spider bite.
On
Forgive
the
me, but
stage.
there is no time for being gentle. Do you know? Do you know
It
what
was a
he is? The Dark Lord.
Yeah, he's a vampire.
He's a vampire. So you know what they mean. The bite means.
I don't know what the fuck a vampire is.
I got
You
What
missed those
it's
stories
what-
too, did you?
What?
it's what took Pip.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Shit.
And you can see
But
him like
Strahd's like
as you're speaking, he's like looking between you now. A vampire took the boy.
yeah. Like, several of them, and they ran
Very
into the
far.
mists, and we followed them. Why would he want
You
the
do
boy?
understand. Perhaps I'm tired, but perhaps we can talk. Perhaps I can tell you more. I'm not sure you understand exactly what this place is.
I very
Tell
much
us
like
more.
people
And
not
he
dancing
settles
around
down.
words.
He settles down and he like steps over the coffin of his father and like kisses his fingers and like puts into his father's cold head and sits at the sofa opposite the party and says, "Very well. I have questions. If you have questions, then go ahead. If not, I will tell you what I know."
Uh,
Tell us
tell us
first.
what we know, yeah, and then if we have questions, we'll ask him.
A vampire is a creature of the night. When they come, they have a curse upon them. A thirst, a desire, a hunger to feed on other beings. Well, beings is not the right word. Humans, orcs, dwarves, animals do not suffice, although it is said that they can do for a while. Yet these creatures do not die. That is the worst of it. They need not feed, for they will never perish. But as they do not feed, the thirst becomes worse, the hunger becomes more. The lord of this land, Strahd, he is more than this. He is more than a mere vampire, for vampires can be killed. He cannot. He is a bitter man, though it is said it was not always that way. He was once a great warrior. The Vistani will tell you that they understand what he is now, and who he is, and how malicious he is, but they will tell you stories of when he was a great man, a noble man. And then
Turn to the good. Back to the good.
I think it is too late for him. Whatever chance he had of a redemption was taken from him. You see, he did what no man should ever do and fell in love with a woman.
And I definitely raised my eyes at him, eyebrows.
He became
Really?
obsessed with a girl.
That's not love, dear.
Well, Who's to say what love is, my friend? If
I've
it is
had
enough,
some experience in this area.
forgive me. I agree with what you say. Love is not something one feels. I have not been fortunate enough to experience it myself, I do not think, except the love I have for my sister, for my father, but I understand that is different. Strahd became obsessed with a girl, a woman, barely a woman, and pursued her, but she rejected him. Some say that she fell in love with Strahd's brother. It is barely a legend now, but some say, those who have passed down the story in whispers, that was the final straw. Strahd killed his brother and chased her to the highest tower of Castle Ravenloft, where she threw herself to the cliffs below. And in that moment, darkness fell upon Barovia. In that moment, we could no longer leave. And now he thinks Irina is the reincarnation of my sister. This was long before my time. Centuries ago.
Hmm.
It's not. I cannot ask more from you. I can ask anything from you.
You have mentioned that there are stories of Strahd dying before.
Some say that he has fallen. There is a story, again, perhaps a century ago, when some came back from Castle Ravenloft, claiming to have slain the Dark Lord. Some say the light broke through the mist. The town celebrated those of us who know how to celebrate. The light shone upon them, and their faces lit. The next morning, each house had a different appendage from these adventurers nailed to the walls. Some had a finger, some got a leg. Their heads were stuck on spikes at the entrances to the town. Some say they
Ew.
swore they had seen him fall. They chopped him to pieces, believing that is how you kill a vampire. Strahd is not a vampire. Or at least, he's not simply a vampire. I believe, well, my father believed, and a minister at the church, he believes, he is tied to this plane. He is this plane. He is the land. You cannot kill the land.
I don't know. Mary has like this really dope finger of death. Maybe she just needs to touch him.
I don't think that'll work.
Not with that attitude.
And I kind of go, huh?
If you will forgive me, I will answer your questions, but I do not wish to leave my sister unattended.
Yes.
She does not like me
her...
cooing over her, but
if she says she doesn't want the party split, she's part of this fucking party now, so get her down here.
Well,
please.
if you wish to go and try and stir her, you may, but she will not listen.
No, you go get her.
She will listen to me less than she listens to you.
I forgot. I followed her up the stairs, so I wasn't talking to you all.
Yeah.
are listening.
As this conversation is going on, you followed her up the stairs, and you can see as she sort of crested the top of the stairs, she looked
Hmm.
back at you, and there's a little bit of like eye rolling and tutting, but then a
Yeah.
resigned sort of. Mary has a certain maternal sense about her.
Hmm.
You can see that she's annoyed that you're following, but not
Hmm.
ungrateful for it. And she walks off. And in the same moment, we see these two scenes as she goes into Marielle, as you crest the stairs, and you can see a candle being lit from within one of the rooms, the second door on the right, and the door closes over slightly, but is slightly ajar. And then we'll cut back down to the scene downstairs, and as Mark is saying to the party, she will not stop us. She will not close her door. She understands the danger she is in, but she will keep her vigil. She will sit on her bed until exhaustion takes her, until something else takes her. She is
Well,
becoming strong. She is able to shut out the whispers, but I cannot. I am so tired. I fear so much for her.
well, if we can get her back down here, if Mary's successful, our wonderful bard friend here has this little dome thing that has helped us in our adventures. In the evenings, maybe we could set that up in here.
He looks at you like he has no idea what you're talking about,
Yeah, no, I don't get it either.
and he nods and says, "That is reassuring, my friend." And then we cut back upstairs, and Marielle, you approaching the bedroom door. Helen?
Yes. Knock, knock, knock.
So even as you approach the door, you raise your fist to sort of knock on it. You can see like the shadows being thrown against the wall of her, like doffing her armor. And before you raise your hand to knock, being quite respectfully quiet, and you hear a voice from inside. What do you want? You cannot help me.
Said that we should not split the party. So I'm here because you're part of the party. I
And
agree
you hear
with
like
you.
a side laugh. I appreciate your concern, my friend, but
In a side laugh, you mean like there's more than one person in there?
no, like she sighs like a.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, she
A
like
side laugh.
exhale, a genuine but like exasperated.
Yes.
I understand and I respect you for coming to try and help, but my brother, he has the same obsessions as his father. Ismark he has little else to fight for, and now he wants to follow in his father said in protecting his sister. That is,
Yes. What's the problem?
I do not wish to see my brother dead. If I leave
Yes.
now, Ismark will be fine. We will all be fine.
I don't think that anybody in this godforsaken place is fine.
Finally. I'm glad that at least you understand it. Perhaps you need to explain this to your young friends. With that
Ugh.
with that child in tow, you have bigger concerns now than Irina.
No, we can concern ourselves with everyone, dear. That's how it goes.
And
I
you can
bel
see now she's like takes her sword off and hangs it beside like what would have been like a tired looking ornate four poster bed, and she hangs it at the post at the head of the bed and sort of slips into like a night shift as you sort of step into the room, and she like gets into the bed and like pulls the blanket over uh, and fluffs the pillows up and like lies back for all the world looking like a woman getting ready to have a cat nap. This is very noble of you, but I do not wish
you
to see any more death. Take
yes.
note from the people of the village. I will come with you tomorrow, if you do as you say you will, and help Ismark bury my father. You will see how the people of this village look at me, And I suspect before too long, you will look at me in the same way. There's only one creature in this land that is more cursed than I.
So you're giving up?
I am not giving up. Not by any stretch. I will fight
Good.
till my last drop of blood. And I will leave this place, if I can. Or I will die trying. But that does not mean that I am an adventurer who needs to gather a band of friends and watch them die beside me. Ismark is a fine swordsman, and I will fight beside him in all but this occasion. For you cannot defeat Strahd. You cannot break the Dark Lord.
Sounds that way. But I do not give up like that. I think that we will find a way. I hope and I pray.
You can
to
see
my
her
God
like
of knowledge.
clenching her fists on the blanket. I'm not giving up. Stop saying that. Ismark keeps saying it. My father keeps saying it. What do you want from me, woman? You want that I go and fight him? Will I go to Castle Ravenloft now?
No,
I run then. Or what?
no.
What do you want from me?
I want you to stay with the party, like you said.
And watch you all die?
I don't think we'll do. We've gotten out of many other scrapes before. I'm hoping that we can get out of this one too.
And where? Tell me where. That you got out of these scrapes.
Downstairs, where everybody else is. You shouldn't be alone.
No, these scrapes of yours. Tell me. Where did you get into these scrapes?
Outside of Barovia.
Exactly. Then forgive me. I do not mean to be arrogant, but however noble your intentions, you cannot understand. I know this is frustrating. I know that you want more from us. You want us to tell you to go here, seek the gold there. That you can save us all and the land will be free. But that is not how this works. You are welcome to stay.
Okay, so I sit myself down and
I do not
put
have
my
men.
pack down.
Understandably, I do not allow men in my bedroom. But you and the lady, your strange large friend, they are welcome to stay. The others can bunk with Ismark. He is across the hall. We leave our doors open. He is irritating, but honest, and I would see no
Okay.
harm come to him.
I'd like to go to the door and whistle downstairs. Come on up. Yep, exactly. I can't do that.
Ow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Do we feed the black on this scene then? Is the rest of the
Come
party
on up.
got questions to ask?
I guess we're all staying in her room then?
no, only you and me.
Only me, you, and her?
Yeah, and the others
And-
stay in
And Pip.
across the.
I'd say Pip was okay.
Yes.
You need to ask her.
Yeah.
So as you sort of trump your way up the stairs, Ismark goes around checking windows and doors, and you can see him. And she says, as the rest of the party go up the stairs, he comes to Gallant and says, "My friend, you have done more than I could ask. I'm sorry if I was hasty, but I'm tired. If you could help me check the windows. Some mornings we awake and the nails have been pushed in from the outside. I ask only that you check. You look like a man who knows fortifications." And he sort of moves off, and you can see him beginning to check the windows and doors and stuff.
Question.
Go.
Can I cast a ritual spell as a held spell?
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say it's gonna happen in the completion of it.
Right, okay.
You should still have your spell slots, but
Yeah, I do.
well, If you wanted to, you could cast it. Well, you can't sleep and you can't hold a spell while you're sleeping, if that's your intent.
I wasn't intending to sleep. No, I was planning on ritually casting a spell as a health spell. To set like a trap type thing.
If it's a trap spell, if it's something that sustains itself once it's been cast, that doesn't require concentration, like a spell of warding or that. If it doesn't require concentration, then yes, but otherwise no.
Yeah, it's a spell that doesn't require concentration, but I don't know whether it enacts instantly once the ritual is complete.
Unless it says otherwise, no, then it will.
Right. Okay.
Unless you've got like delayed fireball, you can't have fireball if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Okay. That will work then.
So this is for the sake of moving forward. Would anybody else like to do anything else this evening? You can see now that Irina sort of rolls over in bed, looking ready to go to sleep. For a woman in her situation, looks like she's ready to just curl up and go to sleep.
I wanted to ask Ismark, while we were talking about Strahd and vampires and stuff, I wanted to ask about the bite on her neck and ask him what that might mean.
Yeah, he
I
says.
was bitten and I'm healed, right? I don't have bite marks on my neck, but I was bit on the neck.
He says, that is not how it works. There is a ritual we do not understand. Some he bites, and they grow weary and die. It is the same with his minions. They may bite you, and they will weaken you. And sometimes it wears off, and sometimes you wither and die. I believe there is more to become like him. I do not know if she needs to be willing, but she has been bitten. It says he has charms. Irina is a good woman. She hates no one, but she hates that man. She hates him more than she should. And now that I think there's perhaps this is happening as you're passing through the corridors. I think Audric and him are alone now. And says, I worried that what he says is true. That perhaps they are connected. For she hates him like she has hated no one before. And he covets her. He takes women, girls from the village. But not like this. If they escape, he laughs, toys with them.
Oh, I've met him. He's very charming.
And he immediately like staggers back. You have met Strahd.
Yeah.
Where did you meet Strahd? That you are here, and you can see his hand going towards his hilt of his sword. Tell me, friend, where did you meet Strahd?
Oh boy. It's a
And his other hand begins like rising up, going towards his chest, and like
This is-
fumbling into his his armor.
This is it's a long story, but to cut it short, there were some mists and then a house and it tried to kill us and
A
then
story
I got
I
out.
have heard before.
Oh, that happened. And then I got out of the house, but my friends were in the house. And then I met the vampire and I
Make
negotiated.
me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh shit!
There's a shunk and a speed that you would expect only from Dax, perhaps. There's the tip of a short sword right under your chin, poking into your neck, and you can feel blood trickling down your neck. And he turn your head, and Show me your neck.
Okay.
And he like begins to squint as you turn your head from side to side. I have made a mistake inviting you here. Is that so,
Oh,
fiend?
I'm not a fiend.
You are one of his minions. No?
No.
Tell me. And he like lifts the sword, and it's like it's already pierced your flesh, but it's close to puncturing more. Tell me I should trust you.
You should certainly trust me.
Convincing, well done. Persuasion check. Persuasion check.
Oh.
Okay, okay. You will sleep in that room. And he points down the corridor, like there. You look down the corridor, and there's you can see what now is Irina's room on your right, and another open door that the rest of the party have led into on your left, and then there's a dark doorway at the end of the hallway, slightly ajar. You stay away from my
You're
sister.
having a laugh.
Am I
Say,
having a laugh?
This is terrible hospitality, I have to say.
I bring you into my house. Like a fool, I invite you in. And only now you choose to tell me you have met. You have parlayed, no less, with the Dark Lord.
Well, I didn't know that was an important point. Didn't know it was a deal breaker. Sorry, mate.
And he squints his eyes at you and takes a step back and pulls out a handkerchief and wipes the blade of his sword and looks at the blood on the handkerchief and then wraps it up and puts it in his pocket, but keeping the sword pointed at you. I think I will stay here. Good night, my friend. And he like turns and stands beside Irina's door.
I go into the dark room all by myself.
The door slams shut behind you. No, it doesn't really. No, it doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't. You go in and you find again this ornate furniture that looks like it's tired. And you can see him. He like keeps his sword in his hand and like slides down the wall beside the door, and his head drops and he puts the sword across his lap. And you can see him like shaking his head. And I think we definitely
cast Tiny Hut as a ritual and just sit in there and go, fuck this.
At some point, the rest of the party come out and see the end of the corridor. There's you can't see anything actually because you can't see into the tiny hut. Yeah, let's move on.
Okay.
While that was going on, Pip's asleep, right?
Oh yeah, Pip's like every now and again he opens his eyes and mutters something, but he's done.
I take a potion out of my pocket and looking at his new clothes, if I look on the inside, does it have like any little pockets on the inside?
Not particularly, no.
Does he have any pockets
He has
on him?
pockets. He's got pockets. There's a couple on the outside. There's a little breast pocket, a couple of little uneven hand pockets on the wee jacket, and the trousers have deep little pockets.
Are the pants pockets deep?
Yeah.
I'll put it into his right hand pocket, and I will send you a message.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so as the rest of the night passes on, those who are keeping watch do. At one point during the night, you hear a heavy crash, a heavy thump from below.
Downstairs.
Yep, as though something has been thrown against the outside of the house. A heavy thud.
Okay. Not the inside.
No. Doesn't sound like
Is there
anything's
any
fallen
way
on the
to
inside.
see outside from upstairs, like maybe gaps in the boarding or?
The boarding's pretty tight, and as you peer out between the mist and the darkness, you can see nothing. Perhaps another hour passes, and you hear some scratching that sounds like it's passing outside the window and then passing beneath the floor underneath you, like directly the floor you're on, as though rats are crawling through the floor. Just a scuffle every now and again, and then somewhere else, and then silence again.
Inside the house.
Sounds like it's come from beneath the floorboards that you're sitting on.
I'm going to move over to the top of the staircase and sit down on the top step and keep watch for anything coming up.
I'll take out my crossbow.
Are you on watch, or are you spending the night there?
I'm spending the night there awake.
Okay.
Since I've already had a partial rest.
Okay. Make me a Constitution check, please. Crossbow, Dax, Gals, what are you doing? You're very quiet.
14.
Chris, you still with
Oh.
us? Chris?
You on mute?
Chris.
Said that he'd be right back, actually.
Yeah, he said he was back though.
Okay.
Chris, are you on mute?
No, he's not muted.
Not like headphone mute.
Okay. We'll give him a chance when he comes back. Okay.
Oh.
Dropped. There we are.
As the night goes further on,
Still couldn't hear you, Chris.
as the night moves further on, you begin to hear scratchings at the windows. The room you're in, again, there's a large four-poster bed, a dresser, and a large cupboard. The four-poster bed has like drapes hanging down the side of it, although now pulled back and covered in dust. And one of the three windows, you begin to hear like a scratching, like a slow, like on the wood outside it. And then it stops, and then from one of the other windows, the same scratching, very gentle, soft scratching.
Hello?
Well, that's...
There we are.
Yay.
Okay.
It was
That
Galaxy
was
burst
weird.
through the window. How long have you lost us? Have you been away, or have you just
No, I've been here. I didn't even realize that. Like, I don't even know what happened to my mic because I didn't change anything. I just came back in, I guess. I did the test on Discord and it seemed fine. But yeah, whatever.
Cool. The rest
Well,
of
that's
the night
very unsettling noise.
seems to pass off relatively uneventfully, although you don't have a comfortable sleep. Forgotten, at some point at the top of the stairs, you fall asleep. And when you awake, you're wandering through the woods, as you've spent so much time wandering through the woods. One of these woods are filled with a mist. You're awake and aware in the stream. You know that what the mists are and what they signify. And as you wander through them, you know that you're searching for something. You're looking for something. And however far you wander, you begin to notice that the woods became repeating, and not in a subtle way. You walk past maybe 4 or 5 trees before you begin to see them again and again, and in your frustration you pick up your pace and begin charging towards them. And as you do, the mist begins to close in behind you, and a fear begins to well up in you, and you charge forward, now not moving forward but moving away from something, moving away from the mist that is building up behind you.
And this is a dream. Or is this once I've woken up?
It is a dream, but you don't know this in the moment. And as you're charging it forward, eventually you stumble. You pass the same 4 or 5 trees over and over again. This cutscene where you're just going through it over and over again until one time there's a root in the ground in front of you, and you stumble. And as you scrabble, you fall and hit the ground hard. And as you turn, and the mist begins to envelop you, you leap away from it, and you smash through the mist in front of you, and you find yourself standing on top of a high cliff, a high stone pillar, looking down. And as the mist parts beneath you, what you see is the the town of Barovia, and you hear a deep laugh from behind you, which I will not do because it will cheapen the effect. Dax, you have a dream, and I will keep this brief to save traumatizing anyone. You have a dream that you wake up and everyone's gone. The party are gone, and you panic. You're in the burgomaster's house, and you charge down the stairs, only to find them all sitting in the parlor, still with the the dead father in the coffin. Only they're laughing and joking. Audric's telling a story, telling one of his tales, and standing and being very he's gesticulating and dancing about. Only you can't see Pip, and you begin saying to the part, "Where's Pip?" You begin saying, "Who's got Pip? What's going on with Pip?" And Ismark and Irene are there, and the whole party are laughing and joking, and they're all swept up in Audric's story. And they look at you and glance at you, but none of them are paying any attention as you begin to panic and scream and say, "Where is the child? Where is Pip?" And you turn and you run towards the main door of the house and open the door, and as you open it, there's just this solid wall of mist in front of you. And you know that to enter the mist means that you cannot come back. In your dream, as dreams are, you know that to enter the mist, you cannot come back in again. But Pip is not in the house. What does Dax do?
I go through the mist.
Okay. You step into the mist and you feel a cold passing through you as you step forward. The mist does not like just brush against your skin. It passes straight through you, and you can see little more than your hand in front of your face, but you know that whatever you pass through, you left something behind. Gallus, you have a different dream. You have a dream of standing in your hometown. You have a dream coming to the town square, which, when you remember it, is a place of celebration and a place of joy, a place where the markets come, and when a passing bard is visiting, they will stand on the little soapbox and the little podium that has been built, the little gazebo, and tell a tale or sing a song, and everyone will stand and dance in joy. In your night's training, you're occasionally allowed to return here and enjoy these moments, but you know that the town was not always like this, or the town square was not always like this. And you know from the stories that you've told that this town square once held a gallows and an executioner's block. And as you approach this town square, you see people beginning to exit their houses and walk up the streets as though in celebration, the traditional celebration that your town has. Some of the men have bells around their ankles, the women are in colourful dresses, and they begin dancing and singing, but the executioner's block is still there. And you see a face that perhaps you remember it more from the paintings and portraits that you've seen, as your father dances down this street also, wearing the clothes that he always wear, the fine clothes that he always was dressed in for his status, as much as he could afford, and this sort of heavy medallion, this heirloom that you've seen in these paintings before, although weren't quite sure what it was. And he joyously joins in the revelry. I don't know whether you remember your father as a joyous man, but he dances down the street with the rest of them, and as he dances up, he willingly waves to you, gives you a big smile through the mist, and kneels down in front of the chopping block and puts his head down, and you see a dark figure, not clothed, simply a void in the darkness, an absence of light, stepping up and raising a great axe, and as it falls on your father's neck, the dream ends.
Okay.
The party wakes up the next morning. All have had a restless night, but those who have had their dreams described can remember their dreams, but the rest of you know simply that you've had a restless night.
I wake up in a panic, and is Pip still there?
Pip's still there. But you still feel the chill.
I legit have goosebumps right now.
Gallus is in a completely rotten mood.
As Mark comes in and says, I do not wish to disturb you, but the light has, what little light this place has come. If you still wish to help me, I would like that we start soon. My father has been lying unburied long enough. He turns and stops down the stairs.
Follow him down.
Okay. As you come down, Irina has put together some bits and pieces of food. Be it cooked vegetables that have been little more than cooked over a fire. None of it looks particularly appetizing, but it does look, it's sustaining itself. Turnips, carrots, potatoes, all looking a bit like the land here is not good for growing stuff, but edible.
Thank you,
Thank you,
dear. That was
Irina.
very nice of you.
It is not much, but it is what we have, and it is more than others. If you wish to go, I will not hold it against you. Although I would like to see my father buried. Good morning, Pip. And she like nods to the boy, and he's like rubbing his eyes. Good morning. Having no idea who these people are because he's been sleeping through most of it. So, shall we off?
Were you visited last night?
I was visited in my dreams, but from the look in your faces, I suspect I was not the only one.
What kind of dreams do you have?
That is a very personal question, but seeing as you're helping me, I have dreams of the mist, of running through the mist. I'm running from something, but when I awake, I realize that I was running to something.
I hate when that happens.
However many times I have this dream, I know I am dreaming. I know that I am eluding myself, but in the dream I cannot control it. I run from what is behind me, knowing that what is in front of me is worse. But sometimes running at your enemy is better than standing still. And sometimes it is better than running away. Enough of this. Come, I will show you. And she takes a large cover that she's got prepared, and she folds it and drapes it over the body of her father and tucks it within the coffin. If one of you could help me, or help
Lee.
his Mark.
Yeah, I'll help.
I'll help.
I'm not helping his Mark.
Nuh-uh.
Before I go off to help them, I hunker down to Pip and just let him know, Pip, I put something in your right pocket last night. If I ever tell you to drink it with haste. But don't drink it unless I say so, okay?
And he looks still bleary-eyed with confusion and sort of leans in conspiratorially and, is it beer?
Yes. Special beer.
Oh. Sometimes my dad told me if I were to drink it, I wasn't allowed to tell anyone either.
Yeah.
Thank
But
you,
only when I say to drink it, okay?
Okay.
Okay. And then I go off to help.
He says, okay, and pats his pocket. Okay, Dax. Okay, Dax.
Double thumbs.
He does double thumbs, but in that really awkward way that kids do. He has to like look at his thumbs to make sure they're up. As you open the front door, Ismark is like a soldier on attention. He like, cracks the door and like is peering out both sides. The head stuck out, door still closed over, and Irina steps up and is like, "Stop wasting time. Let's get this over with." And steps out into the street, into what little sunlight passes through the mist, and steps out and confidently strides down through the broken iron gates and out into the street. You follow with the coffin?
Following with the
Yeah.
coffin.
Helping carrying it.
Okay. Time's running short. We're going to go on an extra half an hour if that's okay with everyone because we started a bit late.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Sorry.
But
As I step out,
I'm going to go for a quick pee in a couple of minutes, so we'll take another quick break. What did you do? What do you do? Forgotten, sorry.
as I step out, I want to have a look around to see if I can see this tower and cliff from my dream.
As you look out, you cannot see anything. The mist that surrounds the town, you can see that again it's not as dense here as it was outside, but it does seem to. You can see silhouettes though of what would be the horizon, the forests of the horizon, but you cannot see any sort of towering thing. You can make even now with your training. It's a best guess at where the sun is coming from. They're brighter. There is a brighter half of the sky, but it's disconcerting for a man who travels by the stars and sun. As you travel through the town, you do notice that the people that are out performing whatever roles or duties that they have turn when they see Irina and either go back indoors or quickly shuffle off towards their houses.
Attention to them, dear.
Was it any different? Like, is that they were kind of doing the same with us as well when we first got in?
Yeah. Um. Um. Perception check. It's hard to tell. You're right. They were doing the same thing with you. They were shuffling. They seem more fearful of her. They were there is a more of a even with the name you can see that they gasp when they see her and they rush to come indoors. Doors are slammed. Shutters are closed on windows. As she passes through the street, she strides ahead of the party confidently. Uh, and you can see her scoffing a couple of times when the door is opened and someone and then slams the door again, and you see her scoffing and shaking her head, muttering, "Cowards." Hand on her hilt. She walks through the town, passes by the house of who you know to be Mad Mary. The wheel's still coming from it, and as she passes in front of it, the wheel sort of subsides slightly, and she confidently strides on.
Oh.
I'll just move these as a party now and keep the party tokens and keep these guys back. I'm going to take a quick break there, and we'll carry
Okay.
on. So, uh, Irina and his mark lead you to the end of the town, end of the village. Atop a slight rise against the roots of what now is passing as you pass through the mist, you can see a gargantuan pillar of stone. And atop that pillar of stone appears to be what is the silhouette of a castle that you now recognize. Forgotten. And this is far in the distance. But the castle is far in the distance, but the village is close to the foot of this. You see
Right.
a grey, sagging edifice of stone and wood. A church. It's obviously weathered from many assaults over the centuries and is worn and weary. A bell tower rises toward the back, and flickering light shines through the holes in the shingled roof. And you can hear the rafters strain, and the wood creaks as you approach these heavy wooden doors at the front of the church.
Come. Knock on the door. Doors are shut.
Yeah. Ismark and Irina lead you up to the door, and they knock on the door. Donovich, it is us. Open the door. We have come. We have come to bury my father. There's silence for a moment, and they reach and lift the heavy handle on the door and push their way in. And you can see that also the heavy wooden doors of this church are covered with claw marks and scarred by fire in a similar manner to the house. The doors open to reveal a 10-foot wide, 20-foot long hall leading to a brightly lit chapel. The hall is unlit and reeks of mildew and rotten wood. 4 doors, 2 on each side of the hall, lead to adjacent chambers. I can actually take you to the map. Can you all see that?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yep.
Can you all see inside now?
Yes.
I can see just a little bit from my position.
Yeah.
You can see the chapel is strewn with debris, and you can hear a soft voice from within reciting a prayer. Suddenly, the prayer is blotted out by an inhuman scream that rises from beneath the wooden floor. Father! Father, please, I'm so hungry. You can hear this muffled through the floorboards as this figure at the back of the chapel. We'll show them to you now. He looks up to the skies and then looks down to the floorboards and begins to cry. His hands fall into his hands as this voice continues. Please, Father, I'm so hungry. Release me. As Mark and Irina look back at you and then look at each other and shake their heads and move on into the room.
Go in.
Father Donovich, we have come to bury my father. We bring friends. And he looks back and sort of scans the party, and you can see him eyeing Aldrich, unsure. Please, Father. I wish to bury him. And the man begins to wipe tears from his eyes and steps down. Yes, this is Mark. I have not forgotten my duties. Leave him here, and I will see it done. Although I'm too old, too weary to be digging the hole myself. Perhaps your friends could help. Come, friends, enter.
Yes.
Father, please. You hear this screaming again from the floor below.
Shush, boy.
What's
We're
with the
Yeah.
talking.
screaming?
Oh,
Quit being rude.
you can see he looks nervous for a moment and then says, "That is my son. He is he is unwell. He's having delusions, you understand. He is... he is safe. He is well. He is simply tired.
I hear him, I don't see him.
Yes, his room is below.
What are his delusions of?
He believes. And he looks at Esmark and Irina, and Esmark says, "They are as close to friends as we will ever get, Donovich. Tell them." And the priest sags and falls to his knees and says, "He believes that Strahd has blessed him. The Dark Lord has given him life beyond life, and that if only he could be free, he could leave this place." And you see he clutches at this holy symbol that he has around his neck.
So he believes he's Vasani?
He believes that he has been blessed by the Dark Lord. This is... I do not believe.
He get bitten?
And he looks to Esmark, and Esmark nods his head. He has been bitten.
Sorry.
As am I.
It's not a way to be sure.
There is no way to be sure. But he cries out in the night. He does not sleep. And while he cries for sustenance, he does not touch the food I bring to him. It has been weeks. Still
Been
he
able
cries.
to contain him then.
Yes. I've locked him in the cellar.
Would it not be merciful to put him down if he's been turned?
No. No. My God will save us. Lathander will bring his light. The Morning Lord will save my son, for I am a pious man. It only takes time.
I will say a prayer also, and I'll go up to the altar.
As
Not
soon as
my
he
business.
sees you going into prayer, he kneels down beside you. You can hear him muttering these prayers, and you can tell now, Mariel, you'll recognize that his throat is hoarse from you've seen people like this before. These acolytes, these people that are so pious that they rip their throat raw by living their life in prayer, and you can hear him muttering prayers that you do not recognize, but prayers that to a God that you do understand.
My God is of knowledge. I learn of everything I can. Pronounce his name, but then again, I wouldn't be able to, would I?
Are these doors?
Yeah.
Oh,
There's 2 doors to either side of the chamber, and then the main hall. It is dawn. This is a good time.
yeah.
A good time to worry, please. If you
Okay.
could help me, there are shovels.
I'll finish my prayer and with him to. I'll help dig.
Can I take a peek behind this door?
You can. You can open the door.
Open the door.
Let's see if there is a... So, I'll open the door for you actually. This dirty, lightless room contains a wooden bed with a straw-filled mattress. Mounted above the bed's headboard is a wooden holy symbol. something that you might have seen before. It's like a half crescent with little spikes coming out of it, like a sunrise.
Okay. Hmm.
That, and as Donovich moves towards the door and begins ushering the party out, leading them towards the cemetery, he says, "This was Doru's room.
Hmm.
Come."
Son?
Yes, Doru was my son. Is my son.
Right.
And he leads you out into the graveyard. Would you like to help? Hands you a couple of shovels.
Yeah, I'll help.
I will help as well. I'm already dirty, right, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Help dig.
He, after a few hours of, we can fast track this. After a few hours of, or say an hour of digging, he begins this sermon, praising the Morning Lord and asking that Kolyan, the father, is delivered into the light of the Morning Lord. That any sins that he has committed be washed from him in the Morning Lord's holy light, and that he be led through the light and out of the darkness.
Man.
You can see Irina and Ismark stand as statues staring into this grave. Ismark begins to weep, whereas Irina just stands stony faced, jaw clenched, as he's lowered into the ground, and the party, I'm assuming, help covering him up. He says, "You are truly blessed by the Morning Lord. Come. I do not have many things to offer, but I offer tea." And leads
While
you
they
back
were
in.
burying, I wouldn't be there. I'd be checking out the other doors.
Yeah, absolutely, you can absolutely do that. And
Excellent.
he looks as tired as Irina and Ismark, so he's barely notices your absence. So if you're checking them all, we'll do this one first.
Yep.
None of them are locked.
Okay.
This sturdy room contains a wooden bed with a straw-filled mattress, next to which rests a small table with an oil lamp burning brightly, with the same sun-shaped holy symbol. This one here. I'll ping it for you. Um, there's an old desk and a chair stand against the south wall. The same wooden holy symbol mounted above it. A 10-foot iron rod attached to the north wall stands bare, suggesting a tapestry once hung there. Against the far wall stands a wooden cabinet with 4 tall doors.
Can I check out the desk and cabinet?
You can. Make me an investigation check if you're hoking about, which I'm assuming you are because you're Dax.
Yeah. 19.
The desk drawers contain sheets of blank parchment and a couple of quills and pens.
Oh. Slam it. Boring.
The wooden cabinet contains boxes full of candles and 2 books, both written in common. One of is Hymns to the Dawn, which is a volume of like some sort of sermons or prayers to the Morning Lord. And another one has the title The Blade of Truth, the uses of logic in the war against diabolist heresies as fought by the Almost Inquisition. It's a strange book that mixes logic exercises with lurid descriptions of fiend-worshipping cults.
I pocket that book.
Okay, make a note of that.
What was that book called again?
The Blade of Truth, the uses of logic against the war of diabolist heresies and as fought by the Almost Inquisition.
Oh my god.
Did you get
The
that?
Blade of Truth book.
Yeah, Blade of Truth, that's fine. Make a note of that and where you got it. The final room, as you enter it, time and neglect have punched holes in the ceiling of this mouldy room, which contains a few broken roof shingles amid puddles of water. In one corner, set into the floor, is a heavy wooden trapdoor, held shut by a chain and a padlock. The young man's screams of anguish can be heard through the floor.
I slowly close that door.
As you
And
turn to
go
shut
join
the
the group.
door, the trap door lifts slightly
Meh.
against the chains. Hello. You are my savior. You come to help me.
Nope, nope, nope. And I nope out of the room and go join the group.
Please, no, you must listen to me. Listen. And you hear his voice fade. Please help me.
Nope.
You burst out of this door just as the rest of the party come back in again. And Donovan sees you sort of stampering out and like starts. You have not freed
Hey.
him. You have not freed him, have you? Good.
Nope.
He's not ready. He's not ready. I fear if he stands in the sunlight, he will burn away to nothing. Come, we must talk. And he leads you into the chapel and sits you down in some of these broken pews. So, who shall start? You are new here, yes?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
You must have questions. Or should I begin?
Yes, please. Tell us what you can, and then we'll ask questions.
I will tell you what Ismark, I suspect, has already told you. That Irene here is cursed. And she begins, like, she stomps off and folds her arms and begins pacing. You have done much for Ismark. And tearing a soul in the ground is the last kindness we can give to any person. But I fear we must ask more. We ask that you take Irina as far away from Castle Ravenloft as you can. Although I
Get
suspect
out through the mists.
if you can, then yes. But even taking her away from here, from this accursed village, I think will help. Even if it is only to buy her more time. There is an
Sounds
abbey.
good.
This town.
There is a
Certainly
town.
try.
There is a town called Kresk, not far from here. There is an abbey, the Abbey of Saint Markovia. The Dark Lord can touch all these lands, but my meager chapel has been forsaken, I fear. The Morning Lord, in all his grace and wisdom, has moved along. Perhaps you can keep her safe at the Abbey of Saint Markovia in Kresk. Or perhaps
What's your name? And
to Valakai.
look at her and say, "Would you go?"
She looks at the party and she looks at Marielle and says, I would go anywhere but this village. This village is damned. This is the worst place. And you can see as Marcus is biting his lip.
You want to come too?
I go where she goes.
Okay.
But I do not wish her wandering the lands. But I cannot disagree. This village, more than any other in Barovia, is damned.
We're here. We're picking up people right and left.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you wanted a menagerie.
That's right.
Of animals.
Now.
But first,
Sort of people that stab you in the neck.
but first,
At least it wasn't the back.
Irina sort of steps in. Doesn't like being, again, you can see she's a young woman. She doesn't like being spoken about like this, and immediately her frustration becomes apparent. I do not like being spoken of as though I'm not here. I will come with you if that's what
talking about.
if that's what Donovich wishes. If that's what he recommends, then I have no other destination. But I would see the seer first. I would speak with
Yes.
her. Although I do not believe in her. Her wisdom. Her
Anything.
sorcery. Any insights we can glean.
Them is to be found everywhere. Okay.
Well, I guess, like, I mean, if we're gonna be going, might as well go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind checking out that store first.
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay, heading there then.
We
To
paid
the
our
store!
respects.
Bye, Mr. Churchman. Good luck with your son.
Thank you. Good luck.
Goodbye, strangers. Safe travels. Thank you again. And as you leave, you can hear the screams begin again from beneath the floor.
As we leave, I'll tell Donovich. If you need us to put him down, tell me. I'll gladly do it.
You can see he like almost he opens his mouth to say something, uh, to shout you down, to call you out, and then bites his lip and says, "Thank you, traveler. The Morning Lord will return. May he keep you safe, and may you return also."
And he just walks past.
What a dick.
Gallus isn't having a good day.
No, I get that, man. So, you can see Irene as you suggest to go to Bildrath's. On the way there, she says, "There's nothing that. What do you wish from Bildrath? He is nothing more than a swindler. He will ask for more from you than anything he has, and he has little."
I don't know, like, I want to know what kind of stuff he has.
Very well, but make it quick, I ask you.
Healing potions.
Yeah, no worries.
So you head to Bildrath. There's the sparse light from this building spills out from behind these heavy drawn curtains, and there's the door over the sign that creaks on its rusted hinges.
Sign over the
Says
door.
Bildrath's Mercantile. The establishment is like quite big. It's 70 feet long by 40 feet wide, and there's a human, drably dressed human standing behind the counter, just sitting behind the counter. Sorry, rather like he's always been there. And the door opens, and he glances up. It's the only person you've seen in the few times you've passed coming or going from this place. The shelves look bare. There's a few items here and there, but apart from that, what looks like may have been a once well-stocked shop now looks empty. Yes,
Are you Beldraft?
I am Bildrath.
Cool.
You
I'm
are.
Dax. What kind of stuff do you have?
I have many fine wares. What do you seek?
I don't know, just tell me what you have. If it interests me, then it interests me. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
He looks at you and says, that is not quite how this works. You tell me what you seek, or you glance and look around. If you
I
say
glance and look
anything-
around.
What is here is very, very little, and I'm going to tell you what's here, but it is pretty compared to even Barton's early sparse shop. This is a little. The shelves caked in dust, and I will tell you now. Veteran gear 148. 148. And I'll just give you an outline of a couple of the things.
Dope.
I'll just check. Yeah, so there are a couple of like poorly wrought swords, what looks to be a quarterstaff, like a barrel that's got like a load of quarterstaffs put in it, not particularly well made. There's a rack with a couple of spears mounted on it, a couple of ill-made shields, various other bits and pieces. There's some crockery, some what would be linen, but it looks already moth-eaten, even though it's still sat on the shelves. And just various other provisions and such. I'm not going to go through the entire player's handbook and read out everything to you.
Taking a brief look at what he has, not really seeing much. Beldraft, you have 3, and that's all I'm asking for at this moment right now. 3 crossbow bolts.
3 crossbow bolts.
Just 3.
We have crossbow bolts. I have many more than 3.
I want 3.
Very well. Let me just check. You know that crossbow bolts are in short supply around here. Times are hard, you understand. And, crossbow. Bolts. Just gotta check perfectly because I don't want to rip you off. Okay. Yep. He says, "Yes, I have crossbow bolts. Here they are." And he brings out like a little pearly made quiver, a little short quiver. They only come in packs of 20, I'm afraid. I cannot sell them singly because no one wants 17 crossbow bolts. Going hunting, are we?
Something like that. I look back to Mary. Do you need any?
Sure. I'll take some.
20 gold crossbow bolts. That is 10 gold pieces, please.
Kiss my
Well, not
ever
quite.
loving ass, bud. Come on, Dax. Let's get out
Not
of here.
quite done with this whole thing.
Okay.
This obviously we're not from here. I'm not going to beat around the bush or anything. We're clearly not from these lands.
Clearly not from these lands. I can see that. Forgive me. I am a busy man.
Yeah, I can tell. Super
Alright.
busy. Do you have any fun potions kicking about by chance?
This is not the right kind of establishment to sell fun potions.
Or like potions in general?
I have potions of alcohol. They could be potions of fun. I have bottles of
Fair.
alcohol. Bottles of fun.
So nothing that would like help, healing or anything like that.
Emotional or physical?
Physical.
No.
Alright.
20 crossbow bolts, 10 gold pieces.
It's a bit of a rip-off, bud, but sure. Why not? I throw down 10 gold.
And he smiles broadly and takes the 10 gold, gives you 20 gold pieces, and says, "While I was looking in the back, I found more. Would you like more?"
No.
23 gold crossbow pieces. So 23 crossbow bolts. 20 gold pieces.
No. That's an awful deal.
Have
I'm
a
not an
good
idiot.
day. Welcome to Barovia.
Yeah, thanks. Bye.
Also, I disagree. Goodbye.
I take out 3 crossbow bolts and give the rest to Mary.
So, destination?
Madam Eva.
Madam Eva.
Okay. That is going to take some time, even as you're traveling. They know where Sir Pool is. I'm just going to find it now for you. Oh, come on. Sorry, give me 1 minute.
No problem.
Okay. So, you set out and travel through most of the day. Night eventually comes, and you're forced to set up camp. As you can see, as the day goes on, that Ismark grows more nervous and begins to stay close to Irina. The ravens that you've seen on the way in, that you've been hearing all around, close in on you as you're traveling through these lands and begin to like alight on the trees until the sun goes fully down, and then you can still hear their calls, but they appear to disappear. Would you like to set up camp?
Yes, please.
As Mark says,
Dear,
it is not far from here. We can push through the night if you wish.
that's not.
I do
probably
I
not
don't
not
like.
a good
like
idea.
being tired. I would rather camp, to be honest.
Okay.
Is I'm sorry, dear. What's your name? Is Mel's sister? Bismarck's
Idina.
sister?
I am
Idina.
Irina.
Irina.
Irina
Thank
Kolyana.
you. I'm so sorry, Irina. Um, we've got something that is safe. I don't know if we'll all fit, but you and Pip must be in there, and you can't leave. Make sure you pee before you go in, because if you, it's a
She looks confused at you for a moment and
that's
says,
that's okay.
"You mean you cannot leave your tent?"
No, you
Well,
can. I put
you
my
can leave,
hand on
but
Mary's arm and say, "No, no, no, no. You guys can leave. I can't leave.
You cannot leave your tent.
yes,
It's not a tent."
a magical tent.
A magical tent, of
Okay,
course.
and I'll take out whatever I'm working on at this point.
I do not need your magical tent. I will stay by the fire and keep watch. As Mark will take first watch, I will take second. You may do what you wish.
Nonsense.
And she begins like setting up a campfire and pulling out a tinder box as you step off to the side of the road, or she strides off into the side of the road just at the edge of the wood, and immediately descends into the mist. You can see now the mist is beginning to thicken as soon as you leave the village, and she begins setting up a camp.
Audric, would you set up that bubble of yours?
On top of her.
And I might have to do some dragging. So
Oh, I love drag.
Yeah, that's it. At first I was Gallus steps behind a tree. At first I was afraid. I was petrified. Oh god. I was just about to say let's leave it in that cliffhanger and let Chris deal with that for next episode, but no.
I don't want her going off dragging wood without somebody.
She's just stepped off to the side of the path, off to the side of the road, and
Yes,
immediately
and we
begins
can't
cracking
see her.
branches. Yeah, you can still see her silhouette through the mist, and you see
Okay.
Ismark is like, she is quite willful, you understand, but she knows what she's doing. I hope. Stay close. And he sort of scabbers off. Irina, you are being rude. They are trying to help us. Shut up, Ismark.
I need
And you
to
can
go
hear
over by.
you can hear the patter of siblings. That's a
Yeah.
little strained.
Oh, I want to stay near her myself. So I'll get up and go and help her. So Ilena. I'm sorry, dear. I'm terrible with names, and I'm going to start. They're pattering my pattering. The Mary. Did you have a good day, dear? How do you feel? Got any blisters on your feet? Um,
Are you
I'm
chatting to
hungry. What should we make for dinner?
Irina?
Yes.
Yeah, once you set up camp, and you come over and speak to her, she softens almost immediately and says,
Mm.
"My feet are fine, thank you. I'm used to walking, pacing. I am hungry. I
Oh,
would like to eat. I have set the
okay.
campfire. We will cook what little we have brought with her."
We have food too.
Good.
I also can. This is well, we're going through the woods, right?
You're walking through a path on the woods, But you've just
Okay,
stepped
well,
off to the side to set up camp, or she's led you off to the side to set up camp.
yes, I need to forage as I can, and I will, going forth, and I will try to say it every time, I will be looking for things to forage as we go.
Survival check.
I have herbalism, and I'm also proficient in survival. Doesn't look great. This I don't expect too much of for tonight.
Even when you're searching around and she sees you searching around, and I'll say that Irina comes and sees you looking around, and she says here, here the plants grow, but they do not grow strong. You need to
They
look
give me
especially carefully. And she like leads you through and shows you some of the plants and bushes that you don't recognize necessarily until she points them out and starts naming them, and then you realize that you know these plants, but they're just in this state of perpetual atrophy. And she says, sometimes at the very tops, if you look between the dead leaves, there's enough sunlight, and she like opens up some of these bushes, and you're able to pick out a couple of berries, but very little. It's more mouth treats than even a whole ration.
Yeah, well, not so much berries because you're only going to get that during one season, but
Yeah.
greens, greens and roots.
Very little.
Okay.
A similar thing as you say that to her, she says, "The ground here is as dead as the land. You could spend the day digging and find very little. As you can see, there are few animals. They are here, but they fight over what little there is left. I prefer to leave it for them."
Rations.
Okay.
They're called iron rations, aren't they? Or was that old time?
Iron rations? That must be old school.
Must be old school. I think it's meant to sound
Cooler.
unappetizing.
Like dwarven bread.
Yeah, yeah,
Teeth breakers.
yes.
Okay. So everybody
Hard tack.
take your rest. You're in the campo now. You can mark off a ration.
Oh, we weren't.
Don't have any rations.
Yeah, weren't keeping track of that.
Oh,
Which
we're not
is-
tracking
I left
that.
my
That's
rations.
Yeah,
I left my rations on the donkey.
so we're not. We decided not to track rations then.
yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you mark off a fictional ration.
Yes.
Tick.
Tick. You tick that empty box.
Nom
mhm.
nom 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 nom.
That
Yeah, it's
invisible
like Peter
box.
Pan. You're eating your imaginary rations.
You're doing it, Peter. You're doing it.
You're doing it, Marielle. So, the mist close in, and it's disconcerting. You've been in the village now, and a warm, if uncomfortable bed, and nightmares. There's a certain fear that comes over you all. However sturdy you are, you begin to become afraid of sleep. You begin finding excuses. I'll just go for another pee. I'm just gonna have another swig from my flask. I'm just gonna check what that noise was. You begin finding yourself putting off sleep, each of you. And you can see now that Irina and, not so much Irina, but as Mark's doing the same thing, he'll lie down and he'll toss and he'll turn. And then he'll stand up and say, gather more wood, even though the wood is stocked. There's a pile of wood beside the fire, and the fire is still burning. And you see Irina does this for a time, but then falls asleep. Much quicker than the rest of the party. Whatever watches you have, you find yourself watching nothing but each other in the mists. Eventually, you do get some restless sleep. When you wake the next morning, you suspect that you have had dreams. You wake up from having been somewhere else. You wake up with that feeling that you have occasionally, as we all have occasionally. We wake up as if you've just been on a journey, but you cannot remember the journey you've been on. And as Mark and Irina are already up and packing the camp, he looks more tired than he was. She looks a little bit more refreshed, a bit more colour about her. And she says, "Come, it is not far from here. and begins to break camp. Begins to she pours her water flask over the fire and buries the ashes. And unless anybody has anything else to do, you lead off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You travel for what only must be another hour or two before arriving at your destination. As you round the bend, you can hear the flow of water, and Irina says, we found it in time. I was afraid the mist would take us, and we would be lost for days."
Mhm.
The road gradually disappears and is replaced by a twisty, muddy path through the trees. Deep ruts in the earth are evidence of the comings and goings of what appear to be wagons. The canopy of mist and branches suddenly gives way to black clouds boiling far above, as there is a clearing here, next to a river that widens to form a small lake several hundred feet across. 5 colourful round tents, each 10 feet in diameter, are pitched outside a ring of 4 barrel-top wagons similar to the one that you seen Barana driving on the way out. A much larger tent stands near the shore of the lake, its sagging form lit from within. Near this tent, 8 unbridled horses drink from the river. The mournful strains of an accordion clash with the singing of several brightly clad figures around a bonfire. A footpath continues beyond this encampment, meandering north between the river and the forest edge. And as you can see these 7 of what you know to be the Vistani men, I can take you there now. Oof. Can you see this map?
Nope.
Check
It's just fully black.
Alright, I'm going to grab your tokens and realize this was dynamically lit. Burp. Please don't want to take him with you. Copy. Bump, 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 bump. Can you all see now?
Yeah.
Up in a tree.
You're in a tree. Mariel's up on a tree. You fall into a tree.
Do we
So as you can see this, and I have a
recognise any
picture
of-
of the Vistani which I meant to show you last time actually. This is sort of the visage of the Vistani. This is what they look like. And you can see them sort of singing and sort of merrily getting on. A few men and women sitting around the campfire. Some of them sitting off by themselves drinking. Some of them singing along. Some of them just sort of staggering about and pacing. Carry on, Audrey.
Do we recognise any of the Vistani as the ones in the tavern?
Perception check.
Oh.
From here, as you sort of round the bed, you're further back than you are represented on the map. As you're approaching, you can hear this is the first signs you hearing this and just seeing the camp and the smoke rising. From the ones you can see, you do not appear to recognize them.
Okay.
But they do turn, and unless you're being particularly stealthy, one of them turns and sees you, and the music stops. The accordion dies down for a moment, and they look to you. And then the accordion picks up and the music carries on as one of them approaches the party and it walks up and says, "Visitors, you'll be the ones Madame Eve has been expecting then. Come. You must have travelled far to get here." And he turns and heads back towards the camp.
Right
I
after him,
follow.
right up his ass. Excuse me.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'm going to follow him closely. Her.
Yeah, that was a bit too close there. So he says, as you approach, "So, where are you coming from then?"
Barovia?
No, I mean, pardon me. I mean before Barovia.
Vandalin? Though I'm from Neverwinter. City am I from? I don't remember things all the time.
And he sort of chuckles and says, "It's easy to forget things round these parts. That's what the mist'll do to you, my lady. Never you mind.
Yep.
You're with the Vistani now. We'll look after you."
Thanks.
Neverwinter I've heard of. Fandlin, can't say I've come across. However, we've been expecting you. Madame Eve is in the tent over there, the large one.
Okay. I
She said to
would
send you in when you arrive.
Well, thank
How
you.
long have you been awaiting our arrival?
We only got here yesterday. Madam Eva insisted that we set up camp, saying we'd be having visitors, strangers, and you'll forgive me for saying, begging my pardon, but you're a strange group if we ever did see any. And you see, Ismark and Irene are sort of like, Irina and Ismark hangs back with the party, and Irina immediately sort of walks up towards the campfire and reaches a hand out. One of them hands her an animal skin full of some sort of liquid, and she hands it back, pours it into your throat, and then hands it back, and they all like sort of cheer slightly.
Okay.
And she
Well, I'm
walks
around
by as though she's went through some sort of ritual with them. She walks back and sort of stands with the party, wiping her mouth.
Well, I will walk up to the same and do the same. And I'm not staying that far away from them.
Yeah, for your tokens free. For to move your tokens. Yeah, they as soon as they see you walking up, one of the men stands up and does a big flourishing bow, "My lady," and hands out like one of these animal flasks to you. And as you take a swig, it's a very hard, viscous, thick mead, but nothing I'm sure Marielle's not experienced before. It's a new flavor, but not any harder than.
What's that flavor?
Honey.
Yes.
We like to honey our mead.
No,
We like to sweeten it.
no. Yes. Well, mead is honey. That's what's fermented. I said, but I taste a different herb, and as a herbalist, I kind of like to know what these things are.
Got to
Do you
look up some sort of herb.
Do you have a brewmaster or a old folk in your midst? I'm looking around at them.
The Vistani are fine. The Vistani are fine brewers, but I'm afraid none of us. We trade it with the other caravans, you see.
Ah, okay. Thank you. Thanks anyway.
But you're welcome to give it a go. We've got a few cauldrons. I'm not sure how long you're sticking around. Madam Eva says you'll be coming and going, and then we'll be moving on. But
okay.
You just stick. If you'd like to brew something for us and put it in a barrel, whenever it's fermented, we'll see you on our travels again, perhaps.
I'm not a brewmaster. I'm just an herbalist.
Is there a difference?
Yes, there is. Well, there's a bit of a difference.
More of a smoker than a drinker. I understand.
How'd you know? And I'll take out my corncob pipe that's worth 150 gold.
All right, show off. This is it. I do have my corncob pipe, which is worth 150 gold, by the way.
I know. I just saw that because Dax told me that I have one. Yeah, Dax told me I have one. I don't remember getting it, but I did find it written down somewhere. So maybe I did grab that.
That was found in one of the places in Fandolin that we went to.
Well, good guess. It was found somewhere in the last campaign that we just finished.
Yeah.
It was
ballpark.
after we fought the Wraith. It was in the chest.
I meant to sell it and split the money, but I keep forgetting when we're in the town.
Well, now you can show it off.
Yeah.
All right, it's all that stuff that you're smoking that keeps making you forget.
Sorry, was that in character or out of character, Robert?
In character.
And were you addressing in character Helen or out of character Helen?
In character.
And I asked Forgotten to forget what? So.
That pipe.
Yes.
Yeah, Forgotten. Pot Cattle Barovian.
I remember everything since my memory was lost. I do not remember the initial part.
Oh, speaking of, Devin. Is your name Devin?
Devin? Is your name
How
Devin?
am I supposed to know that?
I don't know. Does it ring any bells? Anything? Devin?
No. That sounds
No?
ridiculous for a name.
Dax takes out her journal, crosses something out, puts her journal back.
Oh my god, this is so good. Yeah. That's so good. You notice as she flicks through her journal, it's just like reams and reams of alphabetized single words. You can't quite make out what they are, but it's just single words in a long list, and they're all alphabetized.
So
You
we're
catch the
supposed
last.
to go
You
in-
catch the last page is Zebazuza.
So
Don't let me keep you. Keep the animal skin.
Speaking of, your horses are huge. Why are they so huge? What are you feeding them?
Because they're horses. Welcome to 5th edition. This is how big horses are.
yes. compared to people.
Jesus.
Are we going in one
Don't
by
don't
one?
know them or don't know this Jesus of which you speak, but you're welcome to stroke the horses. They're friendly enough. Just don't get behind them.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
a good point. Should we all go in together, or is she expecting us one by
I'd
one?
rather one by one, if you all don't mind. Who
Oh.
wants to go first?
Me.
I will. Okay, good. You're closest anyway, I think.
And one of the Vistani turns right and says, "I believe she was expecting a party. You're welcome. It's none of my business, but
Oh,
I believe she was expecting you as a group."
Oh, we'll all go in.
like a
then.
birthday party, or like, is it like?
I don't think we'll fit.
Maybe it's
Will we
bigger
not
on
fit?
the inside.
Which
It's a TARDIS.
is this her thing?
Yep.
Boop, boop.
So, as
Hello.
you approach
Yeah?
as you approach the tent and push the flaps aside, there's a billow of smoke comes out, full of incense that fills your nose with this heady scent that almost knocks you off your feet. Magic flames cast a reddish glow over the interior of the tent, revealing a low table covered by a black velvet cloth. Glints of light seem to flash from a crystal ball on the table as a hunched figure peers into its depths. This elderly female figure speaks. Her voice crackles like dry weeds. "At last you have arrived. You've come to see
Hi.
Eva." Cackling laughter bursts like mad lightning from her withered lips. "I was expecting your arrival. Come, sit, friends. Let me tell
Okay.
you your fortunes."
Really do.
How long have you been awaiting our arrival?
"I have been waiting your arrival for a long time. But now you are here to find your destiny."
For someone like you, what does a long time mean?
It means at least the next session, because that's where we're going to need to end it tonight.
Ugh.
Do
Well,
we
so
not get to find out our destinies tonight?
This
That's
is
going
the
to take too
cliffhanger.
long.
Is it?
I think it's a good cliffhanger. One of the feedbacks I
Yeah.
got is people want more cliffhangers. There's a cliffhanger for you.
Oh,
Dun,
man.
dun, dun.
That's a good one.
I never said I wanted.
Luckily,
cliffhanger.
it's not a cliffhanger for too long this time.
It's true.
No, it's Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
Tuesday.
Tuesday's quick.
Yeah. Oh, I want to. I want to do it so much, but no, this is a good place to leave it. I think.
Control yourself, Adam. Control yourself.
I'm allowed to be excited too. I'm a player too. We're all players.
We only have to wait till Tuesday.
We have to wait till
But I
Tuesday.
really want to know what those cards are.
I feel like
Yep.
cliffhanger, which I always like anyway, but it's hard to make, and then a strong start. This is a good strong start. So
Okay.
I think that's
Agreed.
a good way to go.
Oh man. I'm so glad Tuesday's really close.
Two.
And
That
with
was
that,
awesome.
I will see you next session. Everybody can say bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.